thinking about changing the channel to our competition. Fans do not, because we understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. Oh, gonna put some butts in the seat.
Welcome to the first ever double feature episode of the Butts in the Seats podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Nick.
I'm Emily.
And yeah, it's January 4th, 1999.
For Nitro and for Raw.
No, it's slightly later for us.
Oh, you were talking about like the actual date? Oh, no.
No. Yes, it's 1999 right now.
There were definitely podcasts in 99.
I've been in a coma. What have I missed?
Not much. Definitely nothing this week.
No. Yeah, it's our first double feature episode, and it's your, first episode of Raw? Full episode
my
of
first
Raw?
full episode of Raw.
Which I still find amazing, because I could have sworn we would have watched something, but I guess I've just been watching clips.
Yeah, when you were showing me stuff first, it was segments from Raw, and when we're watching through SmackDown right now, and anytime that it's relevant, we jump to Raw and we watch a segment that has to do with the SmackDown we're watching. And this past year, when we were supposed to go to WrestleMania, I was watching the SmackDowns up to WrestleMania. So I never watched a Raw.
Yeah, and I think even if we watched any of it, we probably skipped around a bit, where it was we don't need to watch Tess take on... Who else is...
The Godfather.
Take on Albert. We don't need to see TNA implode. We have a jam-packed list of things to talk about. We got 2 episodes. We have
two episodes of television
with commercials. We have 5 hours of wrestling to talk about.
Jesus.
No,
we
didn't have commercials, so we had about 4 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Because Nitro was about 2.5 hours, and
2:20ish, and
Raw was
about
about
an hour and a half. Yeah, so 4 hours, about the length of pay-per-view. So. We will see how long this episode is. You listening will know by the time code. We don't know how long we'll be here right now.
Your guess is as good as mine, honestly. I'm guessing 2.5 hours.
That's fair.
Hopefully less.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and also not a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about, but not a lot to say.
Fair.
Yeah. There are some pretty nothing matches on our card.
And with that, we're going to start with the Nitro episode, January 4th, 1999, Monday Nitro,
live
on
get
TNT.
This shit out of the way first.
From the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia.
Woohoo!
They claim this is their biggest crowd for a Nitro ever, which I'll take their word for. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't when Goldberg won the title in this arena.
Well, they did. Didn't you tell me they mostly do these shows in smaller arenas so it can be more easily sold out, so they can tell that they're sold out?
Yes,
and this is in a football stadium.
Smaller's basketball, where it's 20,000-ish is usually the number.
Right, but this is in a football stadium, and this is sold out?
I don't know if they said sold out, but they said large crowd ever for Nitro. But I'm saying they had Nitro in here when Goldberg won the title and wrestled Hogan for the title.
Oh, I guess.
But that didn't sell out. My guess is because they actually advertised this match on Nitro as opposed to the Hogan match where they just casually announced it on Thunder.
Because everybody watches Thunder.
With no build. It wasn't like they were feuding, just, here you go.
I mean...
Apparently Goldberg found out by watching Thunder.
Oh, you've told me this story.
No, I think you saw it on the documentary.
Yes, Goldberg told me this story.
Yes, Bill told you.
William told me. Me and Billy Boy.
So Nitro starts with a dramatic recap package of the main event from Starrcade. Just move it in slow motion, or if it's Kevin Nash, it might be regular motion. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. But it's Nash and Goldberg, and that's supposed to be the main event tonight, their rematch.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So much.
We have Tony Schiavone, Larry Zbyszko, and Mike Tenay on commentary, and they bring out the Nitro Girls.
Woohoo! Look at the Nitro Girls.
We have the same amount as usual to say about them.
Not much.
Like, we're not dance critics. We're barely even wrestling critics.
Oh, no. I had a very, very short dance career where I had to take a dance class in high school, and I did very, very badly. I was in musical theater. That's not saying much.
Listen, I don't know her name, but the one that actually knows the choreography and is blonde and is cute, I got a little crush on.
That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know her name though.
You have a type. I am also small and blonde.
Do you know the choreography?
No.
Well, learn it, Missy.
I am a very bad dancer.
So the commentators note that this is the first Nitro of the Ric Flair era.
The Ric Flair.
Ric Flair era, which is only gonna last 90 days. Like they've said, you run Nitro for 90 days. So is it really, I guess it's kind of an era? Does that qualify?
I don't think so. I want to say an era is at least a year. I feel like this is like a technical term.
Flair's run the show for 90 days. I don't know when that 90 days starts from, by the way. And I'm almost...
I'm assuming it started when he won it.
I guess the first Nitro, was he running Thunder? Commentary also notes that Hulk Hogan is here. No build for that either.
But he's here to announce his running mate, so that's exciting.
Yeah, he's basically just here to kind of wrap up his affairs and go run for president.
Yeah.
They then throw to a Nitro party happening in one of the suites, as opposed to the videos we had been getting previously of, oh, hey, Nitro parties at people's houses, and it's weird.
Yeah, those actually feel like authentic, fun fan parties. This just looks like a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of drunk dudes, and one guy trying to shout out his family, who I guess was the winner and brought everybody else, but it's a bunch of guys who are just there to get drunk, and I don't know if they have any actual plans to watch the show.
They don't seem to be.
I get an open bar vibe from this.
Definitely.
We will check back in with them later, but first up we get Glacier versus Hugh Morris with Jimmy Hart.
Hugh Morris. Think my name's funny?
You got the joke. Good for you.
Thank you.
Hugh Morris and Jimmy Hart, which I'm guessing are the remnants of the Dungeon of Doom. They didn't have the Dungeon of Doom theme song, but...
That's an era that hey, that's the word era again. That's a time of WCW that I never really saw. You never showed me a lot of Dungeon of Doom. And honestly, I'm okay with that.
I showed you the uncensored triple level cage match.
I'm good with that being it.
I've showed you the Yeti.
Can we make it like a running thing for the show to bring up the Yeti in every episode?
Yes. The thing is, that didn't even feel like a stretch.
No, it really didn't.
It's way more natural than our one last time.
Which is unfortunate. He's just always there. He's always in our hearts and our minds. Never forget.
But yeah, I'm assuming the Dungeon of Doom is dead at this point. I'd be shocked if they're still kicking around. There was no mention of him, so I'm assuming it's dead.
Yeah, probably.
Commentary notes that apparently Hugh Morris is sporting a new look. Sure.
Yeah,
I think he shaved his head, so...
I do like Glacier's look, though. Like his whole garb.
His entrance look, because after that he's just a dude in a singlet and one different color contact.
But walking down, he's got the face mask. Very 2020. Very COVID chic.
Very forward thinking of Glacier. What if I just went to the store looking like Glacier?
Honestly, we live in an area where you would not be the weirdest thing in that store.
Fair. We had very low expectations for this match, and...
I think it met those low expectations.
Yeah, it's just a general big boy match. I think the only note I have other than that is that Glacier takes a Rikishi bump off of a clothesline, and then Morris wins with a diving moonsault, which he calls no laughing matter.
Glacier also does a really sad leapfrog in this over Hugh Morris. It's like... I can't remember. It must be towards the end, because it's towards the end of my notes for this. But he jumps over Hugh.
Because you had so many notes for this.
Yeah, I had about 3. He jumps over Hugh, but one of his legs doesn't quite leave the ground. It was more just like he swung one of his legs over in an attempt to do a leapfrog. It was really sad.
So Hugh Morris wins. This isn't a story or anything, so
no.
That existed. So they need to put as much effort into this discussion for it as they put into putting it together.
Yeah.
And we have now hit that quota.
Good for us.
On commentary, Mike Tenay notes that now that Flair's in charge, everyone's a little more at ease, a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
And then Tony throws to a recap from last week, which...
It's just a long promo. Or not promo, video package.
Well, even then, video package implies some level of, like, production value. The closest this got is we're going to kind of crop the footage and then put little flame bars on the top and bottom.
I totally missed the flame bars.
It weren't that notable. But, yeah, there's no music. It's just clips. It's just chopped up clips from last week.
This is that point in the episode where we just kind of stopped watching and looked down at our phones or something, and then it was over. We're like, oh, well, that happened. We watched the episode last week. We don't need a recap.
Yeah. We then get the actual Nitro opening.
Yeah, that felt late.
They do it whenever the fuck they feel like it.
It felt like the perfect time last week. Like, right after the limo thing.
Well,
like,
even the
that
limo
was the
thing
perfect
had
timing.
no purpose even being before it. It had no purpose really on the episode.
It was like a, using this term loosely, it was like a cold open and then the intro.
Cold opens usually set things up.
I said it was a loose use of the term.
Yeah, I mean, where that intro has been all over the
Yeah.
place in us watching. So, we get it there. After the Nitro opening, we get the Flair family arriving with Arn Anderson, which depending on how you feel about Arn, he may just qualify under that.
I see him as the family uncle. He's not actually the uncle, but he's like, your dad's friend that's always around.
We also get one of Ric Flair's daughters, which we have concluded is not Charlotte.
Yes.
We think it's Megan. At this point in time, I think Charlotte's like 12 and Megan's 18, and this girl looks smack dab in the middle. Yeah. But according to the internet, Charlotte doesn't show up on WCW until 2000, so I'm going to just assume it's not Charlotte.
Right. Nothing on the internet led me to believe that it was Charlotte.
You let me believe either way.
Well, because I looked up Charlotte Flair at WCW, and the only things that I saw were from 2000. Yeah. So, because she's in like some storyline next year.
How do you feel about the fact that Charlotte Flair was in WCW? She didn't wrestle, obviously, but...
She was there. Oh, wow. I wonder if she feels old for that.
She is slightly older than I think most people realize.
She's in her 40s, right?
Late
30s?
30s? Somewhere in there. But it's like, I think there's just a stigma around the women's division, because it used to be like, all right, everyone gets like 3 years, and then we kick you out.
Oh, yeah.
You get a 4th-year option if you pose for Playboy.
Oh, God. The accuracy is sad.
Yeah.
The women's division has come very far.
Yeah. The weird exception to that was Natalya, who's been around for like an absurd amount of time.
Natalya scares me.
But the Horsemen come out to the ring with the Flair family once they're at the stage. Mainly because Dean Malenko is suddenly on crutches. He apparently hurt himself the night before at some show, and I think they're still trying to figure out how fucked up his ankle is. Because, like, we're saying right now it's a sprained ankle. We're not sure. He has to get tested at some point, so.
Yeah, it was on, like, a dark show or a house show.
It might have been on, like, Worldwide or just one of the other shows they have.
But it looks for real. It's not
No,
like
it never comes up again, so
it's definitely for
there's
real.
no reason to think it's a work.
Oof.
So Gene is in the ring to interview Ric Flair. Rick is humble and is excited to do something to Bischoff, but asks him to come out. Bischoff then comes out in his usual attire, but Gene is like, oh, is that any way for an executive to dress?
He's wearing what he always wears.
Yeah.
Why are you commenting on this now? He's wearing his Leather Daddy Bischoff garb.
Rick says the easy thing to do would be to fire him, but instead he makes him go work for Tony Schiavone. So Bischoff is now on commentary, and Mike Tenay just fucks off, I guess. Like,
yeah,
he's not
Mike
there.
got the night off after that.
Bischoff does not look thrilled, and will spend a good portion of the night saying nothing and being a pouty teenager.
Yes. And it has moments of very funny and moments of very annoying.
Yeah.
But I still kind of love it.
It's a matter of when you see him, it's funny, but when half the match is Tony and Larry trying to like get him to say something.
Yeah.
They beat that dead horse.
Yes, they do. And they do it in the middle of matches too, which I hate. But
yeah. Flair then throws to a flashback of Bischoff firing referee Randy Anderson, who had cancer at the time.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if that was shoot cancer, though.
I'm guessing.
I doubt it.
I'm guessing it was. I'm guessing they wrote him out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, we're going to pay you through this. Can we kind of get some heat on your way out?
Yeah.
Because like they've had his kids there to be like, don't fire my daddy. Fuck you. But he brings him back and doubles his salary.
Good guy, Rick. But yeah, it was very heartwarming. It's very nice.
Rick then thanks everybody who helped him last week and then books himself in a handicap match. It's sold out against Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham.
Which this is the first mention of the sold out pay-per-view.
Yes.
Which is happening in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 13 days. There's one Nitro in between.
And this is also the first booked match. Again, 13 days, and this is the first booked match.
Well, somewhat of the first booked match because David Flair then grabs a mic and he's like, I want to be your partner, Dad. Oh. Rick's like, you don't know what you're doing. And then Arn, in the most uncle thing ever, is like, the boy knows what he's doing.
In that
the
southern
boy.
drawl. The boy.
Arn calling David the boy is just big vibes.
Oh, it's sweet.
As the kids say.
Big vibes?
Is big vibes.
Good vibes? Bad vibes?
Big. Anyway, Rick then says, all right, fuck it. Tag team match is sold out. So that's our...
We got one match.
Yep. Buy the pay-per-view now. This was a fairly long segment, especially because they like amplified by the fact that they followed the Flair family into the arena.
Yeah.
And then everything else was long, but it's setting up that things are different now. So somewhat necessary, but you could have trimmed some of the fat.
Yeah, you absolutely could have trimmed some stuff. Trimmed the fat, I suppose.
Well, all that fat was trimmed for our next match, which is Booker T versus Henry Hale.
Oh my god, yeah. If that last segment was fat, this segment's a skeleton, dude.
Hale gets no entrance, which is the real jobber entrance. I know we've talked about, like, you know, when your music gets cut off by the next person. When you get a currently in the ring kind of entrance, that's usually a bad sign.
Oh, no.
There are exceptions, I think, like, 2 matches from now, but usually that's a bad sign. So, this match lasts 59 seconds.
Yeah, we had to look it up, because we weren't sure if this one or the WrestleMania match between, who was it? Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe.
I think that one's...
Do you think that one's longer? Or
no,
shorter?
no, shorter.
Oof.
I think that one has 1 move. This one has at least 4 by my count. Because they kind of hit each other for, like, I'd say a bit, but a bit sounds too long. Booker T hits a spine buster. He misses an elbow drop, and then does the spin and Rooney to get back up, which has the Emily seal of approval.
It does. I don't hate that.
He then hits a jumping side kick, a missile drop kick, and then a pin.
And that's it.
Yeah. Putting Booker T over.
So quick. I think you describing it move by move might have been real time.
Potentially. Booker gets the win, keeping him looking strong. Still nothing with Stevie Ray.
Yeah, Stevie Ray hasn't even been in the episode the last 2 weeks.
No, he hasn't. Spinning their wheels with him. We'll see.
Spinnerooning their wheels with him.
I mean, listen, he'll eventually get a bunch to do. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Get the Nitro girls again.
Yeah.
Like, second time in the first hour.
Yeah, they do show up less in this episode than the last episode. The last episode was excessive, and there's a lot of them in this episode.
Show up like 4 times in this episode.
Is it 4? Okay, well, there was like, I don't remember.
It's three early on and then 1 randomly late in the night.
It felt like so many in the last episode, though, so it feels like less in this one.
And then on commentary, Eric Bischoff is still being a pouty teenager. Just feet up on the desk, just...
And now Tony is like threatening, like, if you don't say anything, I'm going to have to report you to Mr. Flair.
Eric Bischoff has the vibe of a child who was being annoying on a car trip, so his mom took his Game Boy Color.
Oh, your mom must have loved you. I didn't have a Game Boy Color.
I don't have a transition from that to how just blah this next match is. Because we get a rematch of Norman Smiley versus Chavo Guerrero
I'm so
Jr.
tired of Norman Smiley. I'm tired of this man.
He's around for a while. So Chavo still has the horse again, which has a name.
We have a name now. His name is Pepe.
Pepe the horse.
Pepe the horse.
It's still a bad gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Chavo dropkicks Smiley out of the ring and then rides the horse around.
There is a good camera shot in this match, though.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, they have like the horse head in the corner, like looking into the ring.
If this gimmick does not get paid off with a Godfather reference, then I don't know what the writers are doing.
Not the Godfather from WWF, the Godfather
No,
movie.
Horsehead in the Bed Godfather movie. Spoilers from the 70s. So this is the start of Tony and Larry teasing Bischoff on commentary. And I don't really have any specific stuff. I just remember it gets old pretty quick.
Yeah.
Smiley hits his spinning scoop slam. After that, he hits a World's Strongest Slam, which it's not the name of the move at the time, but that's what it ends up becoming.
Wait, when does it become that? I didn't know it had a name at all.
Oh, Mark Henry. It's Mark Henry's finishing move later in his career.
Duh.
Yeah, just the...
Yeah.
The
World's Strongest Slam?
Yeah, because he was the world's strongest man.
Yeah, but that's such a lame name for a finisher.
I don't mind it.
I don't like it.
It's better than the Big Wiggle.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Ugh, the Big Wiggle.
Well, yeah, sometimes just shorthand, we're going to name moves other people's eventual finisher moves. Like, we call it stratisfaction, and just sometimes it's easier than... So he does a bulldog, but then he runs off the two ropes, and like, let's just call it by the name people know. These guys just generally work pretty sloppy. It's not a very clean match.
No, it's not a clean match. It's not an interesting match. It's a match.
Which is no more evident than Chavo goes for some sort of springboard move from the inside.
Oh, yeah.
And he slips on the ropes and then ends up on the apron. And it's like, okay, you can save this. But then kind of awkwardly vaults over, not really doing any sort of move. And it's like, oh, okay. You had a chance.
Thinking on his feet there.
No. You had a chance to save it, and you didn't. Oh, before that, Smiley does the big wiggle, and Chavo hits a drop kick. And I think he does a wiggle of his own.
Yeah, he does like a little taunt back, and they call it the little wiggle.
Sure, that'll catch on.
I'm sure. I hate it. I hate all of it.
Oh, Chavo wins after reversing the chicken wing into a sunset flip.
The chicken wing.
And I don't know if he was actually meant to be a heel beforehand, but Smiley attacks Chavo after the bell.
And just starts throwing Pepe at him.
Yeah, and so Norman Smiley is definitely a heel now.
What did Pepe do to you?
The reason I was confused about whether or not he was a heel, because I felt like he was, but the dance gets a pop. And so I'm like, okay, if you're trying to get heat, don't do the dance.
But this is also a wrestler that doesn't get a lot of, production love. It's not like Bischoff was talking about how great Norman Smiley is. So when he can get a pop, I kind of understand why he would want to do it, whether he's a heel or a face.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking more of current WWE where they'll Cesaro. Mm-hmm. He would do the giant swing and everyone would count and cheer and he was a heel. So they're like, you need to stop that. So yeah, nothing match, but I am concerned that this is going to be on Sold Out as well. Because what else is going to be on there? This is how Norman Smiley had his last match on pay-per-view.
True,
He wrestled Prince Iake a bunch and just...
Yeah.
So, I think that the test is that match on the next Nitro? Because if it is, then
definitely.
I don't think it'll be on Sold Out. If it's not, then I'm like, oh, okay, you're saving that for Sold Out.
Really? This is the one that you're going to hold out on and save?
I also don't know if it'll be on there because the past couple years, Sold Out has been hosted by the NWO. It's an NWO pay-per-view. It's not a WCW pay-per-view. So I don't know if that's still the case or if they've realized that that's a bad idea and no one likes it and it's now just a regular pay-per-view. So we'll see how self-indulgent that is and if there will be any two non-NWO wrestler matches.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess I didn't realize that Sold Out was only an NWO thing.
You've actually seen a little bit of one of the Sold Outs. We watched the Miss NWO contest.
Oh, God, was that on Sold Out?
Sold Out in 1997. That was in the first one ever.
With the grain inspector?
Yes.
And, her friend, the grain inspector?
I don't think that I'll be making a return.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure. I think that was one night only.
Damn.
Because to this day, no one knows what the point was. It just ends with Eric Bischoff making out with a woman in her 50s.
It was really funny, though. I mean, none of the women could hear a single thing that was being said to them.
What?
So everyone with a question.
I can't hear you.
Huh? I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I don't believe there's that.
Bummer.
And additionally, at that one, any guys who weren't NWO would come out to no music and just like a mocking ring announcer.
Yeah.
And it was just, it did terrible business because how do most NWO matches end?
DQ.
Just some sort of bullshit ending,
Yeah.
basically. And it's like, what if you had a pay-per-view full of that and you gave us money for it?
Yeah, no, that would not have flown. For me, at least.
We do get some NWO action in our next match. We get Horace Hogan versus already in the ring, Chris Benoit. Which I'm like,
Which,
what?
like, he's not a jobber.
No. I was confused. I'm like,
And of the two, you're giving the entrance to Horace Hogan?
I know. Well, Hulk's showing up later, so I guess
Yeah.
gotta get him on.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Horace Hogan. He kind of, like, fell into the back of my brain as, like, a generic bald wrestler man
In the NWO.
in the NWO.
So early on, Benoit goes for triple Germans, but Horace grabs the ropes after 2. He manages to hit a suicide dive on the outside to Benoit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
I didn't think you would do that.
It looked good, though.
It did. I was amazed.
It looked impactful.
Horace is then feeling bold from that because he goes up to the top rope, but Benoit catches him with a superplex.
Yeah.
It's like a snappy one, too. He gets up there, like, oh, go.
Yeah.
Benoit then follows up with a diving headbutt, which he hits, but it seems to daze him more than it hurts
It
Horace.
like dazed both of them.
But like, I feel like Horace gets up first. It's like, oh, Benoit's really out of it. And I'm like,
But this is also one of those hits where Benoit hits his head and we both go, "Ugh."
yeah, we're trying to ignore it, but sometimes we can't.
Ugh.
Horace hits a shoulder breaker and goes for the pin, but Benoit kicks out. He then tries to get Benoit up for a suplex, but Benoit counters it into the crossface, and Horace taps out.
It made Horace Hogan look really good.
Yeah,
match.
I was incredibly surprised at how passable this match.
That's sad.
Well, it's also like, you expect Benoit to look good, but like Horace looked pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it didn't feel like Benoit was making Horace look good. It seemed like Horace
Was just holding his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both look
I mean, it's like a 4-minute match, so you can only do so much, but
Yeah.
Horace looked good. Gotta give him credit.
They both did very well with the allotted time.
Commentary then throws to backstage where the police have a warrant for Goldberg's arrest.
Yeah, Goldberg is just standing amongst a big group of cops, and he's just kind of berating them, like, I do so much for this community. You can't arrest me. You know me. I'm a good guy. Like,
Yeah, well, he leads with that before saying he's innocent.
oh yeah, he doesn't say he's innocent for a few minutes.
He also says it'll take every gun and thing of mace they have to bring him in.
Which, is that not resisting arrest?
Well, luckily, another cop who is apparently friends with Goldberg is like, Bill, come on. We'll just come down to the station. We can get it sorted out. And he's like, Joe, you know I'm innocent. Like, I know, Bill, but come on.
Joe, come on. Come on, Joe.
And then there's one cop, the original main cop, who went to the Hart family school of promos because he has one note and he's going to fucking hit it. We have an arrest warrant. And just,
We have a warrant for your arrest. We have an arrest
what
warrant.
are we done? We have an arrest warrant.
He has one line and he's gonna say it, damn it.
And he's in like all these segments too. I don't think he talks after this one though.
So we also can't decide if these are actual cops.
Yeah, the bad acting from some of them, it makes me think yes. And like none of them are like young hunky studs that are clearly indie wrestlers.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Sometimes it's obvious.
like the guy Joe is like in his like 50s, looks like.
Yeah, they look like they could actually be cops. So are they real cops?
Yeah, we'll discuss this as we see them going on because I'm in the camp of yes.
I really can't decide. I don't know.
So yeah, they don't tell him what the charges are, and they bring him out to a cop car, which is like a 1993 green Chevy Malibu.
Yeah, just a standard 4-door sedan.
Yeah, no, like not even any sort of like attempt at a light on top. Just
Yeah, this is not a cop car. No. This is somebody's car.
Kevin Nash comes out as he's being arrested and is like, "Oh, what the hell? Like, I have a title match." And then Hogan is suddenly there and is laughing at both of them, and he's like, "Oh, I know Goldberg's guilty."
But guilty of what?
Yeah.
What is he guilty of?
They go inside, and detectives are interviewing Miss Elizabeth as we go to break. Our next match is Perry Saturn versus Chris Jericho, which I was very excited for.
Yeah, you were hopeful.
Yeah, I was hopeful.
That
So
exasperated sigh.
there's a clip missing, which they put in later, which we'll talk about when we get to it. But just know there is some context for this, which is not given to the audience until about an hour from now.
Yeah.
But in the match, Saturn hits a belly-to-belly fairly early on, and there's some decent back-and-forth action between the two. Jericho ends up hitting a triangle dropkick. He goes for a cocky pin a bit after. Of course, Saturn kicks out. Jericho goes for a chinlock and an immediate, ask him.
Ask him. Ask him.
Every time. Like that is the order now.
Yeah, he tries to do that cocky, like, leg on the back, or the leg on the chest stance, where he goes, yeah, baby!
Come on, baby.
Oh, come on, baby! And then obviously kicks out and then ask him. It's the Jericho School of Wrestling.
Saturn hits another nice belly-to-belly. Jericho misses a spin kick, and Saturn goes for a Death Valley driver, but Jericho wiggles out, but Saturn's able to hit a T-bone suplex.
Jericho wiggles out.
The big wiggle. So.
The Death Valley driver is just, like, a great name for a move, though.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah, like, there are some moves that these kind of nothing people at this point have that are just amazing. Like the Tequila Sunrise, so good.
It's fun. I don't know the name origin of the Death Valley driver.
No?
No, I have no idea where that comes from, but like that's just like that's the name of that move. That's not a Perry Saturn exclusive thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's just
one.
like I think Tommy Dreamer has that in ECW right now, and John Cena will eventually steal it and call it the FU.
I like it.
Saturn tries for a springboard attack, but Jericho pulls the ref in the way. He then low blows Saturn, hits a lion salt. Then he starts to get Saturn into the lion tamer, and before he's even has it remotely in, the ref calls for the bell.
Yeah, so you would think that hitting a ref would be like the worst thing that he could possibly do. Like, this happens all the time.
Well, it's also like Jericho pulled him in the way. It's like
I can't.
he pulled the referee in the way of the attack. Like, you can't blame Saturn on that one.
No.
But considering he's going for the submission hold, it's like are you saying he gave up or are you DQing him? Because
Right, it was very confusing.
yeah, he just raises Jericho's hand and there's not really an announcement. And I don't know, maybe there was a live crowd, but once again, it's not patched in through the...
Kind of all we got was just commentary being like, oh, I know that Perry's been having issues with that ref.
Which they never mentioned during the match.
Yeah, and that was after the DQ happened, so what?
Yeah, we're assuming he won by DQ.
Yeah.
It's the most logical we have.
Yeah.
We go to the police station, and Goldberg is apparently under arrest for aggravated stalking of Miss Elizabeth.
Aggravated stalking.
And this was what made me think that they are real cops, because there's just like chatter going on the walkies, and like the one main cop has to like turn his walkie down, like, oh shit.
That is the most compelling evidence that you have shown.
Oh, the fact they're not good actors.
Well, nobody's a good actor in WCW. Or wrestling in general. No one's a good actor.
How dare you? Hulk Hogan has been in many films.
That doesn't make him a good actor.
We then get the Nitro Girls calendar ad, followed by the Nitro Girls themselves.
Yeah, and this one was looking real rough. It's like they choreographed this 5 minutes before coming out. Nobody knew this one.
So you definitely didn't notice was the Nitro Party. We go back to that, and they are way drunker than they were before. And they're like thumb wrestling in like a paper mache cardboard construction paper sort of ring.
It looks like production just like handed them a construction paper thumb wrestling thing and was like, go ham. And these guys, drunk off their ass, they start and immediately tear the thing up to pieces. Like, it's just obliterated before whoever the poor soul up there trying to do interviews can like say anything. It's gone. It's destroyed. Yeah,
he asked them like, oh, what have you liked in the show so far? And one guy's like, I like when Goldberg got arrested. Even the interviewer's like, yeah?
Free Goldberg.
And there's also a jailbreak chant that starts between them. And
these men are not watching the show.
I wonder if we were supposed to go back to them again, and it was like, we can't. They're too far gone. Yeah, I'm willing to bet open bar, especially because like you won a party kind of thing.
Yeah.
And WCW would occasionally just be like, hey, come out to the show, free beer.
See, that'd be fun. I wish that we could like go to something like that now.
Yeah, now it would be like, oh hey, it's unlimited beer, but it'll cost you $120.
Yeah, fuck that.
And if you don't get it, it's like $15 per 8-ounce beer.
Ugh.
and it's only bush light.
Bush light? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Exactly. Backstage, detectives question Miss Elizabeth, and she establishes her story.
Yeah, so she says that whoever Goldberg, supposedly, who is stalking her, follows her everywhere.
Yeah, to all the Nitros, all the pay-per-views, at the hotels at all the shows,
At the gym.
and it's like, so places Goldberg would be. Okay.
Yeah. And then they're like, okay, so when was the last assault? When was the last meeting of the two? She's like, oh, just outside of the water cooler.
Yeah.
At the water cooler.
Remember that. Also, I mean, she's fairly fit, but like Miss Elizabeth doesn't strike me as somebody who's like going to the gym a ton.
No, well, okay. You're correct. But also, I have a Planet Fitness membership, and they have tanning beds and a spa.
Fair.
So,
She just has big mom energy at this point.
yeah, she does.
Big Karen energy in this.
You're right. It's sad.
We then get the most peculiar item in the night,
Oh my god, yeah.
which I thought was just like a little LWO hype package, but then turns into like a 7 to 10 minute cinematic adventure with the LWO.
It keeps going and spiraling. It's like, it's a movie. You're right. It's a cinematic adventure where they're like in what I assume is Eddie's house or a party hosted by Eddie.
Before that, they're somewhere, like in some parking lot, and Eddie's like trying to charm all these ladies and tells like two of his guys, like, go park the cars. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess the LWO are going to go bang these chicks. And like, it's going to cut here. And they're like, no, we go to the party. And I'm like, oh, okay. And of course, there's a mariachi band because it's the LWO. I just wrote, like, what is this segment?
It was wild. It was a wild ride.
I think it was meant to convey that Eddie's a dickhead to his own people.
Yeah?
There's a bit, I said it ends with this, it does not end here, but like, where him and like his bodyguard are like on one couch with all the women, and like on the other couch is just a couple LWO dudes like, oh, I wish I was over there.
I think at least you're reading into it more than I ever was.
I mean, like, they shot all this for a reason, you would assume.
You would assume, but they also shot all that stuff with Raven, and that never came back.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that happened.
Wonder if I'll ever see him again.
I don't know. He is in Florida.
But yeah, because like it's like the same guy who tells park the car and like it is looking mopey on the couch, and then later he's like, get us some cokes. Some cokes, not some coke. There's a fine line.
It is it is a fine line of cokes. But yeah, it was just like a party. It was.
Yeah, Eddie cuts a promo to his crowd, and I think one of the main reasons this is weird is because commentary didn't throw to it at all. It's just like,
no, it just appeared.
Here's this in isolation. And I went,
it just happened.
Okay. And then it ends, and I'm like, sure.
Because, like, this very well could have just been a 20, 30-second promo with Eddie at the cars, and, like, the cars are bouncing and doing their little whatever thing. I don't know how cars do that. I'm not
Oh, yeah,
car
like
savvy.
lowrider kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. But that could have been it. Hydraulics? Sure. That could have been it. But then it just kept going. And, yeah, it went for, like, what, 7 minutes? 8 minutes?
It felt like a while.
It just kept going. Like you said, like, you kept thinking it was going to end, but it just kept going.
For the next match, we get Bobby Heenan replacing Larry Zbyszko. So now it's Tony, Bobby Heenan, and Eric Bischoff, who still has not said a single word.
No, he's still being pouty. I still kind of love it.
We then get Kidman and Rey Mysterio versus Juventud Guerrera and Psychosis.
Yeah, Psychosis is not one that I've ever seen, but he's got a cool, like, headpiece, so that's cool.
Like mask, you mean? Yeah.
He had, like, a cool mask.
And with Rey Mysterio coming out, it's time for this week's...
Who's that Pokemon?
So we didn't really set up how this is going to work. I'm going to have various acceptable answers, and you have to guess, who is that Pokemon?
Okay, so my answer this week, I had two, but I'm going to narrow it down to one.
Okay.
If you're curious from my second one.
Yeah, for context, Rey is wearing like a neon yellow, like mostly like white and black. It's mostly neon yellow, but there is a fair amount of white and a fair amount of black in it as well.
Yeah.
We had a hard time with this one.
This one was tough. So I went with Elekid.
Not a bad answer.
Okay.
I peeked back at it, and there is a fair amount of white, and Elekid is really just kind of yellow and black.
Yellow. But I was just going, I knew it was like very electric yellow, so I was going electric type. yellow Pokemon. My second guess was Zapdos.
Yeah, that one's a little further. I might give you partial credit for Elekid.
Partial credit.
There's a lot of white in there. I was looking for Beedrill.
See, Beedrill's not like as electric yellow neon.
Yeah, but I'm just going for yellow, black, and white at a certain point because there really aren't any neon Pokemon. If you look up neon Pokemon, it just comes like neon lights of Pokemon.
So when I looked it up initially, I looked up like neon yellow Pokemon, and the first one that came up after like the merchandise of the neon lights, whatever, was a shiny Scyther.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really think about shinies much for this game.
This one was more green though, but that's the first one that came up, and I thought it was interesting.
Oh, I think
so
it was neon yellow.
I typed in neon yellow, but that one looks more green to me.
Oh, I will also accept the only seen in the anime and never really brought up again, the GS ball.
The GS ball?
It's a Pokeball that...
We're not doing Who's That Pokeball?
Listen, it was supposed to have some sort of context in the series. I think it was like contain cell. They never paid it off. It was supposed to have something.
It's Who's That Pokemon? It's not Who's That Pokeball?
I'll also accept... this one's a real... You're going to get mad at this one. I'll also accept neon yellow Joy-Cons for you to play Pokemon on.
No, what? Excuse me?
No, Beedrill was the correct answer for this week.
Okay.
So Hoovy is still trying to earn Eddie's love.
Which is just so sad.
Yeah,
It's
Eddie's
just
not even
so
like
sad.
here tonight. Just like,
No, Hoovy even like looks into the camera when he comes into the ring and is like, "I got it, Eddie. You don't have to worry. I got this." I'm like, he's not even here, bud. He doesn't give a shit about you.
he then refuses to tag in, so Psychosis has to like force tag him in. Ray tags in and hits a diving Hurricane Rana. Ray then vaults Hoovy into a spine buster from Kidman. Afterwards, he body scissors Hoovy to the outside, and then we get our first instance of what made me hate this match. Psychosis just decides, nah, fuck the rules, and just is constantly in the ring when he shouldn't be.
Yeah, this is a tag team match.
Yes, just a regular tag team match.
Yeah.
Because he just is suddenly attacking Ray from behind, and I'm like, what the ref, get him fucking out of there.
DQ? Is this our DQ of the week? Or
You know-
bad call of the week?
You know what? I didn't really have one, so yeah, that would be it. Hoovy springboard dropkicks Ray to the outside, and then Psychosis just gets in the ring. They kind of like high five once they're in the ring, and they just count that as a tag. And I'm like, no, there's a tag rope. I was losing my mind during this match. Like, listen, sometimes when shit gets crazy, you're going to lose track of who the legal man is. That's fine. The difference between losing who the legal man is and I'm just going to come in when I feel like it.
Yeah, I kept zoning out in this match. I was unfortunately not, enraptured by it.
Yeah. And to add to it, Psychosis and Hoovy are like in the ring working over Ray, and Kidman's like, okay, well, I guess I'll get in. And I was like, no, you stay over there. And I'm
I didn't notice that.
like, ref, turn around. It didn't even seem like good heel work. It just seemed like the ref's like, I don't fucking know what they're doing over there. So
Yeah.
Kidman gets the hot tag, but is then cut off by more interference from Psychosis. I'm just like, stay in your fucking corner.
Oh, Psychosis.
Kidman manages to fight both of them off, and then him and Ray hit stereo dives to the outside from the top rope, which is where the commentators note, like, oh, it was, tornado rules. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not.
What is tornado rules?
All four men are in at the same time.
Oh.
And, you can pin either person from your team can pin either person from their team.
Okay, so you would not have to tag.
No, there's no tagging in those.
So this is...
Yeah, picture any
Not
sort of
that.
like tag team tables or tag ladder match.
Yeah.
The weirdest is when they try to do it in a cage match where they're like, we're going to have tags in here. And it's like, it's no DQ. What are you going to do? It's a cage match.
So, like, yeah, what was... If it's a tornado match, why are they trying to tag?
It's not a tornado match. That's why.
Okay, I don't know.
It's just commentary trying to explain shit.
Badly.
And I don't think they were going for... It's very much like a Mexican kind of luchador move of like, if your teammate is like tossed to the outside, you can just come in and then you are the legal man then. But they have to be tossed to the outside. You can't just come in when you feel like, I'm legal now.
Can they come round the outside, round the outside, round the outside?
It's designed to keep the action flowing, and that way it's not the slow plotting. We're gonna just punch and kick around the apron,
Yeah.
which we'll see in a couple other matches tonight.
I really love when I just make song references and you look at me like you want to murder me.
You know, because I'm going to cut all of them out and add
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, that one didn't even work.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
You said they couldn't come around the apron, which is around the outside.
You said that beforehand.
Oh, well, I was thinking about it.
I said they get tossed to the outside, and you went around the outside.
No, that still works.
No.
I'm funny.
Hoovy then hits a Hoovy driver on Ray, but Kidman breaks it up. Psychosis then comes in and tosses Kidman to the outside. Kidman then accidentally top rope drop kicks Ray, and Psychosis hits a diving leg drop on him for the win. This was a very sloppy match in execution and rules.
Yeah.
I was losing my mind during it, and it's like it hurts it considering how good the Cruiserweight matches have been around this, that I'm like, this was a severe step down for me.
Yeah, for the past few weeks, the Cruiserweight match has been like our match of the night.
Oh, yeah. But
not this week.
Fucking Psychosis. He is now like, I'm worried for any tag match he's in.
Yeah.
Have him in singles matches. It's fine. Have him versus Ray. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know him in singles matches, so.
You better know him at all, do you?
I don't know him at all.
Do you want to know what culturally insensitive gimmick he got upon coming to WWE?
Oh, no.
Him and a wrestler called Super Crazy were part of the Mexicools.
Oh.
And they came out on lawnmowers.
No.
Yep.
Why?
It's actually in one of the video games as well.
Oh my god.
You can have your crate wrestler come out on a lawnmower.
Why? Who approved this?
Which I think was the workaround for a little bit of, if you wanted to have American Badass Undertaker, you just have him come out on the lawnmower. Because there wasn't the bike in the game.
Oh my god. What HR team is WWEF missing?
It was 2006. HR didn't exist
No. No. HR existed in 2006. Cultural insensitivity existed in 2006.
I don't think there's any facts to support that.
Uh,
So we go to the police station again, and Goldberg's like, yeah, we both work for the same company. We're going to be in the same place. Also, that gym she saw me at, I own. I'm going to be there. And he's like, I want to go. Like, let me go. And they're like, no, we got to keep you a little longer. Like, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, I think we missed them noting that the police station is across the street.
yes, it's across the street from the Georgia Dome.
It's across the street.
Cross street.
Remember that. Back in the arena, we get Mean Gene interviewing Kevin Nash.
Mean Woo by God, Gene?
I think did you say it right there?
By God?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. No!
Yes!
No!
I also can't picture Kevin Nash doing that, so.
Ooh, I don't like that.
So Nash admits that Goldberg got screwed at Starrcade.
Yes.
He also claims that Hogan is probably behind Liz's trumped up charges.
Yeah, he says if Liz is involved, Hogan is pulling the strings. So yeah.
Fair. He also says that he wants Hogan tonight and asks Flair for a match.
Yeah.
But he also says that the Goldberg match will still happen.
So I thought he was only getting, like, there was a lot of confusion in this, because I thought he was only going to get the Hogan match if Goldberg could not come.
So Nash says he wants both. Flair then comes out and says, yeah, if Goldberg won't show up, then you get Hogan. Mm-hmm. Commentary then says, we're going to get both matches. So I'm guessing Flair ended up just saying the wrong thing during the promo.
Okay.
That's my best guess.
Sure, I don't know.
Flair also says that he disagrees with how Nash won it, but notes that, like, listen, you are the champion, and he does agree that, like, yeah, Hogan's probably behind the Goldberg thing.
Oh, okay.
So, seemingly, we're going to get both matches.
Supposedly.
Based on commentary and Kevin Nash.
Supposedly. When? I don't know.
Hey there, listener. It's audio editor Nick here. Our audio got distorted for about 60 seconds, so if you found that real annoying and distorted, skip ahead 60 seconds. We go backstage again with Miss Elizabeth, and the cracks are already forming in the laziest ways possible.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was at the Coke machine getting myself a Diet Pepsi.
When she said she was at the water cooler, and now she's getting a Diet Pepsi from the Coke machine.
Yeah, see, that's more, I'm like, okay, you're clear.
You're not even trying.
What was he wearing? He was wearing red tights.
Have you ever seen... Okay, that was where it got me. If I was a detective, as soon as she said, oh yeah, he was in red tights, I'm like, okay, no. Goldberg has never worn anything other than black trunks. No.
We do get somebody later who we usually see in black trunks wearing long red tights.
True, yeah. Oh god. What if? The crossover of the season.
She also claims that Goldberg calls her and is breathing into the phone, but hangs up before he says anything.
Ew. Like, that's...
How do you know it's him?
Yeah. What movie were we watching? It was like a horror movie.
Scream?
Was it Scream?
You need to give me any more
sorry.
context than
Drew Barrymore?
Scream.
Was it Scream? Yeah.
It's also starring David Arquette.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
But I don't see why David Arquette being a co-star would have any sort of impact on the podcast.
I get to talk about Friends when that comes up.
Courtney Cox will actually...
Is she on WCW?
She's like a pre-tape kind of thing.
Yes.
So we close out with Liz getting very defensive about just...
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, she starts like kind of yelling at the detectives like, I'm the victim. Why are you questioning me so much? You're supposed to be here to help me. Like, girl.
So we'll have to check back in with her a little bit later. But next we get a Mean Gene interview with Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Big booze for Hulk Hogan.
Good. That's all I've got to say on that. Good.
Gene asks where the political aspirations are tonight. Hogan says that the wrestling world still revolves all around him.
So this is when he supposedly would be announcing his VP.
Yeah, he actually says he was going to. He's going to retire and name his VP, but apparently Kevin Nash has been talking some mess.
Hey, yo, you talking smack, bruh?
He calls Kevin Nash a big, tall spoon.
Okay, as a tall person, is that an insult?
I wouldn't know. Who would come up and be like, what? But he claims that Nash is saying that Hogan's afraid.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wait.
people are saying.
People are saying.
People are saying. Gene then notes that the match Nash wanted is for the title.
Which was not established earlier.
No. Don't know where that came from.
But now it's a much higher stakes match.
He also asked Hogan, like, are you going to do the match? It's like, Flair said he's under contract and he has to do the match.
Right.
Don't think you have an option here, bud. But he says he's going to.
Oh, good. Oh, good. He's going to make that sacrifice for us.
And he says when he wins, the Wolfpack can call him Hollywood the Big Bad Wolf. I don't even know what he was going for there.
I don't know either. Was he going for, like, who's afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?
I mean...
Hollywood the Big Bad Wolf? Maybe? It's not good.
He could have gone the Big Bad Holly Wolf.
That would have been better.
Even that's not even good.
It's still not good, but
it
it's
sounded
better
better in my head, and then I'm like,
It's better than Hollywood the Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Gene wraps that up, and the commentators go to throw to commercial, but Tony says something kind of interesting here.
If you're even thinking about changing the channel to our competition, fans, do not. Because we understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. Gonna put the butts in the seat. Yeah.
We get it.
We did it. They said the name.
They said the name. We're done.
They said the name.
We're done. Close it up.
All right. Thanks for listening, and bye.
No, we got to keep going. Unfortunately. Yeah, thoughts on them giving away the results and ruining it a little bit.
It's just petty. Like, why did they choose to do this?
So they actually hadn't done it in a while, but back in like 95, 96, when WWF was putting out terrible products, just like, hey, here's what's going on over there, so you don't even need to change the channel. Like, just, Shawn Michaels won with the super kick. The weirdest one of those was like, yeah, Shawn Michaels hits the big guy with a super kick that wouldn't have got him like a green belt at any karate dojo. And I'm like, who the fuck cares?
What? Okay, so this had some kind of precedent, but it's still like...
Well, they hadn't done it in a while.
It's real petty.
You know what the kind of funny part of this is? You know who gave away the results? WWF.
What?
They put it on their website. But it was
what?
1999, so no one...
So no one was on the website.
Yeah. Like, the information was out there, but it was just so not that accessible that people didn't know.
Oh, God, wow. Yeah, I didn't like it. It just seemed real, like, Mean Girl. And also, like, you've been listening to us talk about the show up to this point. It's not that great. Why are you trying to compare it to what Raw's doing? Like...
Yeah, so we will give Tony Schiavone a free pass on this. He was very much made to do this by his boss, who was sitting to his right. He called Mick Foley later that night, like in tears.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was just petty and mean, and I'm glad that Tony apologized and felt bad about it, but
Yeah,
still.
and I think the number is an estimated 600,000 people changed the channel.
Yeah, because Mick Foley at this point was still a pretty big name, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's, probably the number 2 face they have in that company.
Yeah, so him getting the championship belt, that's
And
massive.
like people know how hard he's worked, and it's like, oh my god, this hardworking guy achieves his dream tonight. Don't bother.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I'll tell you this much: they don't do it again.
So, how many people did you say?
It's an estimated 600,000 people.
I mean, like, I would have changed the channel.
We then get a WCW MasterCard commercial, which I was trying to figure out if WCW was giving out its own lines of credit or if these are just various, like...
No, I think this is just like a MasterCard skins sort of thing, you know?
Listen, I used to work for GameStop and they had their own credit card, and I'm just like, I don't even know what the hell the interest rate would be on a WCW credit card.
Oh, God. Yeah, American Eagle had that too when I worked there.
After that, we get some much-needed context from the Jericho match.
Yeah, this is when they choose to give us the context. What?
Yeah, it's Jericho sympathizing with the referee and being like, man, if he puts his hands on you again, you should really disqualify him.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I still need more context. What did Perry Saturn do to this ref?
I don't know. Probably something on Thunder.
This should have happened right before the Jericho match. Why was this so late?
See, I almost think, was that so messy that they actually had to film, like, oh, here's an explanation for what the fuck actually happened?
No, they would not have done that. Again, I cite the Raven thing that does not have any kind of context post. Like, no, they're not going to go back and retcon a decision like that. No. This was pre-taped. This was planned. No.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking ahead to our next match. We get Scott Steiner with Buff Bagwell versus Conan.
Your favorite. You love Buff Bagwell.
I'm really, like, souring on Conan, too. I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's kind of nothing. He comes out and says the same thing every time, does the same moveset, and that's it.
No NWO ref with Steiner and Bagwell coming out, which I thought was weird. Maybe it's because this is a title match. I don't even remember if it actually was or not. Maybe because it's a WCW title, you actually have to have a WCW ref?
No, because they've done this thing before. They've done this before with... I'm pretty sure the NWO ref was there when Scott Steiner won the belt initially.
That was last week, and it was
Yeah.
WCW ref.
But wasn't it initially an NWO ref, and they knocked him out and brought in a WCW ref?
Whatever logic.
It's arbitrary.
So Steiner cuts a I'm the best at sex promo again.
Yeah, he says, don't want to be with a fat redneck? I'll take you to Loveland. Like, excuse me?
Sure. Loveland
You've
sounds
never
great.
made love to a woman before.
Wow. How dare you presume?
How dare I safely presume?
He also claims that WCW is trying to censor him since he lit Mark McGuire's hat and jersey on fire, which I'm like, no, you lit his hat on fire.
You did not successfully light
Yeah,
the
that jersey did not catch flames.
No. So don't talk about being censored this week.
But he also claims now that he has the belt, they can't censor him. He's out of control and loving it.
I don't think that that's a thing. I don't think it's like, oh, you have a belt, now you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't think so.
He pulled his dick out on television, but he's the world champion, so...
So I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Buff then makes fun of Ric Flair's heart attack, which wasn't a heart attack. He was poisoned.
Yeah, stick with your kayfabe, guys.
Conan comes out with no one again. Mm-hmm. I'm like, bring Luger. Fucking, maybe you should have let Disco in, because Disco would have watched your back.
Oh, yeah, Disco would have been a great little teammate. But instead, Conan just kind of comes out swinging, though.
Yeah.
But this seems to be the match where commentary wants to talk about WWF and Mick Foley again.
Yeah, they double down on
Yeah.
it. Because everyone knows the first one. I think people forget that, like, during the
just
match,
keep
they're
talking
like,
about it,
yep,
yeah.
he's going to win that title.
And they keep, like, emphasizing, oh, we're live. They're pre-taped. You don't know what's going to happen here.
If you don't read spoilers, you don't know what's going to happen either.
I mean, yeah. And it's also 1999. There is not ample space to find spoilers.
Yeah.
The internet is not in every home yet.
I'm entirely unenthused by these two. It's pretty much a similar match to last time, and
it's a very nothing match.
It's
a talkover match.
Yeah, they don't do anything interesting.
No, they really don't.
Conan hits a sloppy facebuster that they seem to get the timing wrong for, and then goes for the Tequila Sunrise, but Buff then just gets in the ring with the belt, and before he even does anything, it's like, nope, DQ.
DQ. That is a DQ that they call.
I'm like, sure, I guess you have now defended your title successfully, because it can't change via DQ.
Right.
Scott then tosses the ref to the outside and works over Conan. The NWO ref is now here.
Yeah, now he comes down.
Steiner puts in the Steiner recliner, and the NWO ref calls for the bell. Okay.
So, who won?
Conan actually won by DQ, but he doesn't win the bell because it's DQ.
Right.
Steiner then hits Conan with a chair repeatedly to kind of end the segment.
Yeah. What?
I imagine this will be the last time these two face each other.
You think?
I think so.
We'll see. Watch it be next week.
Or at Sold Out, which they actually have a Sold Out ad for.
Yeah, which is impressive.
We have one match scheduled for still. And not really much that looks like it's going to be on it either.
No.
Like, what else looks like? I mean, I'm going to guess Norman Smiley and Chavo Guerrero because, I'm
going to guess Eddie versus Ray. One-on-one Eddie versus Ray.
I say Kidman for the belt. Do that again.
Well, I'm thinking like an LWO anger sort of thing.
Maybe.
One final battle. I don't know.
You know what actually we probably will get, considering how it ends, is our next match, which is Wrath versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Ugh, you think we're going to get this again?
Probably.
Ugh.
Wrath comes out and cuts a promo, and I'm like, you talk?
True.
He says he's been dominating for 6 months, and he's lacking competition. Didn't you just lose to Kevin Nash a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, he just lost.
Yeah. So Bam Bam Bigelow answers the challenge.
And still coming down to no music, which I still dislike.
I think he'll eventually get music, I assume.
Eventually.
This is meant to be a big boy match, but it's just so punch kicky that it's just even like it's not fun.
Yeah, this is the match where I wrote in my notes, this is boring, I'm bored, I've been bored for a while. Oh god.
I don't know what to make of it that Bischoff finally talks during this match.
True, yeah. This is when he decides to start talking some shit.
Yeah, he calls Goldberg jailbait, which I think he means jailbird, because jailbait is something different.
It's very, very different.
And he also calls Goldberg a prison punk.
Prison punk.
But just no context, just it's all he's saying. Just
those words. Jailbird.
Being so pouty.
Prison punk. Such a pouty little teenage boy.
I wrote very strike heavy match, frowny face.
Frowny face.
I put a frowny face. And when in doubt, do strikes and kicks on the outside.
Round the outside.
I honestly think 10% of this match takes place in the ring. If that.
That's generous. That could be very generous. Yeah, because I think that they will make the match more interesting if they just walk around and hit each other.
Yeah, because the ref is also trying to get them in the ring as opposed to just counting them out.
Yeah. So when you said it was a dual count out that this ended, I was like, I didn't hear a count.
Well, Bigelow tosses Wrath in the ring and then tosses a chair in there. The ref goes to remove the chair, which distracts Bam Bam Bigelow. And then Wrath clotheslines him to the outside. And I'm like, fuck, we're going back here?
We just got back in. Now we're going back out?
Bigelow goes for a chair shot, but misses. And then they just brawl up the aisle and the ref throws it out. This was not a hot brawl. Oh my God, they're they won't stop fighting. It's just punch. And then they just fight all the way to through the through the stage kind of entrance.
Through the ramp. It was so nothing.
I kind of assume we're gonna get this again in some sort of capacity. I mean, this is the setup for another match. Just depends on when that match is.
Okay.
The way you're booking this is for another match.
It was just so boring. I hope that whatever comes of that next is better.
We then go backstage again to Miss Elizabeth, and they cross-examine her, and the cracks just keep forming. And I honestly don't know if it's worse that Liz can't keep a very simple story straight, or that the cops are taking this long to figure it out.
I think it's on the cops. Because, like, why would you waste your time this long in? Like I said, all you have to do is cross-check who wears red tights. And if it's not Goldberg...
Yeah, but Liz should also know he wears black tights. He owns this gym.
It's a Coke machine.
Or it's a water... I mean, like, even... I guess that's a little more like, okay, you fucked up. Versus, like, what does Goldberg wear?
Yeah.
I think this is just showing Liz doesn't watch WCW.
Yeah, probably.
So they basically call her out on the fact that she's lying and like, perjury is a serious offense. And she kind of sticks with it, and then they go to leave, and she's like, you know what, I was mistaken, and just retracts the whole thing. And I'm like, that's still...
That's still perjury.
So they had... She has a line, and I'll let you deliver it, because I believe it's something you've said plenty of times about the show.
Miss Elizabeth says, all these bald wrestlers just look the same,
There's a lot of these bald-headed wrestlers around.
Yeah, I'm with you, Miss Elizabeth. Same, dude.
She said it. I think I just stared you down for like 5 minutes, and I'm like...
Look, she and I are not so different.
Yeah, so Goldberg should be in the clear.
Should be.
Well, we can't check in on him. We have to, have the Nitro girls come out.
Of course. Top priority.
And then we go to commentary. And Bischoff is still being pouty. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it will be Hogan and Nash tonight. And the Goldberg match will happen afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
That's that.
So let's check in on... Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. We're not going to check in on him yet for some reason. First, we have to do Bryan Adams with Vincent versus DDP.
Again, priorities.
Bryan Adams, is he a hunk?
No.
What?
No.
What if he had face tattoos?
Even more no.
I've also showed you Bryan Adams as Crush, and I believe you said he was not...
Still no.
Yeah.
Still no.
Did you know he once had a WrestleMania match against Macho Man Randy Savage?
Really?
So DDP tries to vault to the outside on top of Vincent and Bryan Adams, and Adams is just out of position like 5 times. He's just not looking at him. I think DDP eventually just goes, I'm going to do it and you're going to catch me, because I guess whatever you're doing, you have a plan.
Yeah. Nobody got horribly injured in this match, so I guess there's that.
We get a low blow from Adams, followed by a really quick, lame-looking pile driver. Yeah. They just kind of like crumple into a ball.
It's just sad because, like, Bryan Adams does not look like wrestling is his calling in this match.
He's been wrestling for a while, too.
I know.
On commentary, they note that Goldberg's had to fight through traffic to get here.
Goldberg is going to have to fight through traffic?
To get across the street.
Is this Frogger?
No, but I want to see that. After that, we get Emily's favorite spot. We get a bear hug.
I hate the bear hug. I hate the bear hug so much.
It's a long bear hug, too.
Sure. In a nothing match, a bear hug will kill the audience even more than it's already been killed. Like I have said before on this podcast, the bear hug is the worst move in wrestling, period. It is not showy. It does not do anything for either wrestler. You tell me that it wears them down because it's squeezing life out of them, whatever. What? It's a hug. Like, you're not hurting. Like, it doesn't look good. And the whole point of WWE, WCW, wrestling like this is to be showy. This isn't MMA. This isn't something like that where your whole point is to knock them out. This is to put on a good show. And a bear hug, don't do that.
I want to see somebody in MMA break out a bear hug.
They'd be laughed at.
Also, I think I just found your nightmare spot.
Oh, God.
Booker T does a taunting spinneroonie and gets caught with a bear hug.
Should we turn off that match?
Bryan Adams does hit a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker afterwards. DDP manages to hit his jumping DDT followed by a discus lariat, and I noted that this is going way too long. He then hits what looked kind of bad in the initial angle. It's a diving diamond cutter.
Yeah, it looked bad.
And it
looks sloppy.
It looks bad because on the way down, Bryan Adams takes the entire bump on his knees, like way too early. Like it almost looks like a bulldog to a certain degree. But then they
like turn the camera around.
Yeah, they like slow it down in the replays, and I'm like, okay, well, DDP executed that right. It looked better in slow-mo, but just...
Brad Adams just took it wrong.
Yeah, he's not good. At this point, at least.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe this isn't for you anymore. Maybe hang up the boots, my guy.
No, he needs to form Chronic first. It's him and Wrath.
I remember. You remind me every time.
So we now go to the police station, and Goldberg is still there. And he wants to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, she dropped all her stuff, so you're good to go. We're going to give you a ride.
Back across the street to the Dome.
We then go to commercial.
Okay, so at this point, we looked up how far the Georgia Dome was from the CNN Atlanta Police Center.
Yes, and, you know, he could probably get, I mean, I guess there is a dedicated entrance for the wrestlers, but it's basically as short as less than half a mile.
Yes. It's like maybe a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, it's like a 2-minute drive.
Yeah.
And they go to commercial.
Yes.
Like, as they're walking out the door.
Yeah, so you would, in your kayfabe brain, Goldberg is leaving the precinct, getting in a car, and driving across the street, a 2-minute drive to get to the Dome. They are cutting to commercial. They're going to have to do entrances. There should be ample time for Goldberg to get there. Ample time.
Plus, we get Michael Buffer.
There should be plenty of time.
So it is Michael Buffer time for our main event. World Heavyweight Champion Kevin Nash versus Hollywood Hogan.
Oh, God.
I wrote that Emily has no idea what's about to happen.
I'm getting angry already.
Hogan is out first with Scott Steiner. Kevin Nash comes out next with no one at first, but then motions the ramp. And out wanders Scott Hall in a Wolfpack shirt. Mm-hmm. They give each other a big hug and go on down to the ring. The bell rings. Hogan and Nash posture for a bit. Nash pushes Hogan. Hogan winds up to punch Nash, but then pokes him in the chest. Nash takes a bump onto the ground. Hogan pins him. 1, 2, 3. New heavyweight champion, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I wrote, you can fuck right off.
This is what they chose to put against Mick Foley, the man who is achieving his childhood dream of being a wrestling champion, a WWF champion. That this is what they are putting against him winning that. This finger poke. Hulk Hogan being a dick. That's what they put against Mick Foley being great. This is disgusting. This is insulting. This is... Every wrestling fan who watched this live should be demanding their money back from WCW. This is insultingly horrible. This is awful.
What do you think the guys in the Nitro party were thinking about this?
They were blackout. They have no idea what happened.
So the four men... So in the ring, the four men embrace. Goldberg is now arriving. He's outside. Like, the car pulls up.
He had like 20 minutes to get there.
Maybe not that much, but...
It was a long time.
Goldberg comes out and fights off the three, but Hogan hits him with 2 belt shots. And by belt shots, I mean it's a Hulk Hogan weapon shot, so he just kind of holds it and runs into you. It's every weapon. He doesn't know how to use them. I don't know why. Swing something.
The worst part about this segment, too, is they're all laughing about it.
Yeah.
They're laughing about it in the middle of the ring. They're laughing about how they duped their audience, how they got them.
Yeah, and Bischoff is now fully talking and is mocking Goldberg, and by extension the fans. And I think, honestly, like, that's what makes it even worse.
Yeah, he's mocking the fans.
So in another Yeti tie-in, similar to that, Lex Luger comes down to help the babyface. Only to blindside Goldberg and, you know, turn heel with the rest of them. The 5+ Buff Bagwell comes down to help beat him down, and Liz comes down with him.
It just keeps happening, and it's just... If I was watching this live, this would be enough for me to be like, I am not watching WCW for a long while. Fuck you guys.
They handcuff him to the ropes and tase him. Hogan then spray paints him with red spray paint, NWO for life. They spray the belt, and that's the show.
The thing that you pointed out to me, though, which is just like chef's kiss beauty, this ran over. And in the commentary, they did note, we'll stay with this match as long as it takes because we are live.
Yes, so anybody who was watching the Mick Foley thing who then changed the channel over
when that show ended
would have caught
this.
Ooh.
It's just insulting. It's, oh my God.
What do you say? Let's do best bits and MVP, take a little break, and we'll come back for Raw.
Best bits. What's your best bit, Nick?
My best bit is actually Horace Hogan versus Chris Benoit.
Oh, yeah? All right.
I was pleasantly surprised by that match. And I remember thinking at the start of the Cruiserweight match, I'm like, this is going to be my best bit. And then Psychosis pissed me off so much that I couldn't give it to that match.
That's fair. That's fair, yeah.
What is yours?
I said it was pouty Eric Bischoff throughout because, like, it did have its moments where it made me laugh, and it was kind of great, but it also got annoying. So I'm just gonna give it to him.
Okay.
It was a pretty bad episode, so if it made me laugh, I'm gonna take it.
MVP?
I gave my MVP to Goldberg because that man came into that arena and wanted to punch some bitches. He didn't want to fuck around with the NWO.
Oh.
He was there to fight, and that's what he was gonna do, damn it.
There is a slight continuation of this, which they show on Thunder, which is Goldberg getting up, being pissed off, and challenging Kevin Nash to a fight.
Ugh.
And then, like, the Atlanta Falcons come out as Goldberg's backup because
He was kind of a Falcon.
Yeah, and they were in Atlanta. I don't know whether maybe that'll lead to a sold-out match.
Ugh. I don't even want to watch it. I don't want to watch Sold Out. I wonder what the numbers are for Sold Out.
Probably low.
Ooh. After this, yeah. You might be struggling to fill any kind of stadium after this.
You're not going to like my MVP.
Who's your MVP?
Remember that cop who was a friend of Goldberg's?
Joe?
Joe the cop is my MVP.
Why?
You know, I'm assuming he was a real cop, and he did a decent acting performance, and also had the presence of mind to be like, oh shit, I need to turn down my walkie.
Oh my God.
But he was a serviceable actor, and I'm assuming he was not. He added some heart, he humanized Goldberg.
Sure, okay.
Brought him in peacefully.
Yeah, no. But alright.
I'm giving it to Joe the cop.
Whatever you say, babe.
If you make me pick a wrestler, it would be Horace Hogan for the suicide dive, but I'm giving it to Joe the Cobb.
I'm so angry.
My MVP is Beedrill.
Beedrill.
Oh God, we're losing our minds.
Fuck that. That's what I have to say about that. Fuck that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the comparison of the shows at the end of Raw, but for right now, we're going to take a little break and come back with Monday Night Raw. We come back from our Jeopardy music, which is a wrestling tie-in because Alex Trebek was at WrestleMania 7.
That's true.
And actually interviewed Bryan Adams' crush. There's our full tie-in to the podcast, too.
But we got drinks, took a little break, took a walk around the apartment, cooling down. Let's talk about Raw.
Let's talk about the January 4th, 1999 Monday Night Raw. You excited for one of the only Raws we're going to be watching during this podcast?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is my first Raw.
I think the next Raw I have scheduled is March 26th, 2001. It's the simulcast Raw.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the only one I can think of. Did we wait, did you lie? Have you seen that Raw? I thought we watched that one.
Which Raw?
The simulcast, when they buy, in spoilers, they buy WCW.
Did we watch the full episode of that?
I don't remember.
I think we just watched segments of that.
So, this Raw doesn't start off the way a normal Raw does. We get a video package for Shawn Michaels like he's died or something.
Yeah, it's like a recap of his life and career.
Yeah, he was fired as commissioner last week, and it's like, man, what a great run he had. He is currently in the middle of like a 4-year retirement because of his back.
Mm-hmm. But like in the middle of this like nice sentimental, I will remember you sort of thing, Vince just comes out, it's like, cut the sentimental crap.
Yeah, he's like, cut it off.
Cut it off. And that's our Vince McMahon impression.
I just love the phrase, get it off the Titantron. I'm like, oh my god, there's a Titantron.
Oh, yes.
There's a big screen. It's weird that Vince doesn't have music yet.
Yeah. Because
the theme he ends up having, that everyone knows, is the theme for the Royal Rumble that's coming up.
That makes sense.
And then he just kind of takes that. I don't know when he actually takes it, because I know he actually wrestles on pay-per-view in February. So I don't know if he has it then yet, but that's what he ends up with.
It makes sense.
Which is funny. People think that's like one of the greatest, like, oh, this works so well for the character. It's a great theme. And it's like,
it wasn't made for him.
It's a pay-per-view theme.
Yeah.
What it lacks in music, this entrance makes up for in asshole chants. But yeah, him and the entire corporation come to the ring.
Yeah, so he came out with a bunch of guys, and I was, I think, able to clock all of them.
Let's see if you can do it.
All right, I had The Rock, Bossman, Test, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Briscoe. I know Patterson was there, I just didn't see him, and Shane McMahon.
You missed the Briscoe Brothers Body Shop sign on Kane's back, though.
Oh, you're right. Which stays there for way too long. I don't get that.
It's just meant to be like a prank, and also like, yeah, we have control of Kane.
Oh, Kane.
Save it. So Vince says anyone involved in the emotional scarring of Shane will pay.
The emotional scarring. Emotional scarring my ass.
Yes, he had Mr. Sacco put on him 2 weeks ago.
You're like a 30-year-old man. You'll be all right.
And then on the Titantron, it shows HBK walking through backstage. And oh my god, they actually see it.
They actually see it and they acknowledge it.
And they interact. It's like, oh my god. As opposed to Eric Bischoff just cutting a promo and Flair and the Horsemen are killing everybody backstage. Like, oh my god, I'm the best.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, look somewhere.
Turn around.
And I think I have to ask you now, because he comes out. HBK's theme, does it slap?
Does Sexy Boy slap?
Yes.
Of course Sexy Boy slaps. What kind of a question is that?
I just wanted to ask.
Sexy Boy absolutely
I wanted to make sure
slaps.
it slaps and isn't a bop or a jam.
No, Sexy Boy slaps.
Okay. So Sean says the sheriff is back in town and then brings out DX.
Ugh, I hate DX.
Basically, this is the Triple H led iteration, because there's the Shawn Michaels led one, which is basically 3 people.
Yeah.
4 if you want to count Rick Rude, which everyone forgets about.
Yeah.
Then you get this one, which is Triple H, Chyna, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, and Road Dogg. Then we eventually get Midlife Crisis DX of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And then we get a spin-off of that has Hornswoggle.
No. The only thing I don't hate about DX is when the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn are tag team champions. When Road Dogg comes out and he's like, it's me, it's D-O-double-G, the Road Dogg, that one?
He does that every time.
No, he goes like the Road Dogg Jesse J, the badass
James.
Billy Gunn.
It's not Jay, it's James.
The Road Dogg Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn, the tag team champions of the world, like that.
They also do that every time.
They do that every time?
So they do that every time, depending on whether or not they're the current champions or if they're not. They either say current or like 3-time tag team champions of the world.
Really? Oh, I thought that was just when they were the champions.
It's kind of like how New Day also.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Well, before that, when Big E does his whole, oh!
Yeah.
And then
I just like that.
Yeah, but that's just the New Age Outlaws. That has nothing to do with DX.
Okay, so I like the New Age Outlaws. I like Road Dogg.
How do you feel about him and K Quick? Get rowdy.
That's a big ol' no. Don't talk to me about the invasion. We're not there yet. We don't have to talk about it.
That's not even really an invasion.
Don't talk to me about the invasion. That's kind of the invasion.
No, that's pre-invasion. That's like late
really?
2000.
Ugh.
Yeah, because Road Dogg's gone by the invasion. So, back in the promo, Shawn Michaels notes that his commissioner contract is apparently ironclad. He cannot be fired. He can only resign.
And he's not resigning anytime soon. Well, okay, he says there's no way in hell he's resigning.
He's not resigning on this show.
He says there's no way in hell he is resigning.
As commissioner, he has power over all the wrestlers except Stone Cold Steve Austin for some reason.
Yeah, why?
I'm assuming that's explained in other weeks. We're not watching week to week on this. I'm a little more like, I'll accept it. I'm sure there's a reason for that. Because Vince entered himself into the Royal Rumble as number 30, Vince is now a wrestler. So, Shawn Michaels makes him the second entrant in the Royal Rumble, with the first entrant being Stone Cold Steve Austin. So they are now the first two entrants, and Austin will have, I guess, 90 seconds to do whatever he wants before number 3 comes out.
I mean, ideally, that should be very simple, correct? Just get him out. Should be so simple.
Well, also, you would think number 3 would be somebody that, Vince put there to, help him out.
Yeah, who's number 3?
Somebody.
Oh.
Golga, maybe?
Who? Gesundheit?
Yeah.
Golga.
That Rumble is an interesting one. We're not gonna be reviewing that. But Michaels notes before he leaves, he is going to go get a surprise. And it's going to drive Vince stone cold crazy.
Gee, I wonder what he might be getting.
You guessed it. It's the Shockmaster.
Oh my god.
He then says, hit our music, and the DX music plays. So yeah, he's apparently now part of DX.
Okay.
Which is a iteration that's not a thing.
So I say that I hate DX. I keep trying to fix how I feel about DX.
You don't like X-Pac.
Exactly. I don't hate DX. I hate X-Pac, and X-Pac is DX to me.
And you hate the DX entrance.
I do hate the entrance.
Which we'll talk about.
The seizure entrance, I hate it. But I mostly hate X-Pac.
So we then get introduced to our commentators for the night, which are Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler.
The King.
No Jim Ross tonight. He is currently recovering from a Bell's palsy episode. He's not back for another couple of months because he'll call the main event of WrestleMania. And then I don't even know if he's back the next night or if he takes even a little bit longer. But Cole is still very new here. And it shows.
It does show. He's kind of annoying. He's hard to listen to.
But we get our first WWF match of the podcast. We get Ken Shamrock versus Steve Blackman.
I love Steve Blackman. I've missed him.
I love being able to hear the ring announcer.
That's true.
It's
beautiful
great.
because you can hear the ring announcer. You can hear all the stipulations for that match. Did you know this match was a 20-minute time limit? The ring announcer did say so.
Yes, which is occasionally nice to have and just let's just sprinkle these throughout. That way, if we ever do want to do a draw like that, it makes sense. As opposed to the one match where it's it's suddenly a draw.
Yeah.
I'm what?
It's just nice to know exactly what you're getting before you go in, you know?
Ken Shamrock's got 2 belts.
Kenny 2 belts over here.
Bailey Dose Strap.
Bailey Dose Straps. Kenny Dose Straps.
That was so bad, but she knew what she was doing.
She wanted it to be bad.
Exactly.
Bailey's amazing.
Yeah. Ken Shamrock, fucking Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion.
Look at him. Killing it.
Man, Ken Shamrock could have been so much of a bigger deal.
Yeah, what happened to him? Do you know?
He just, I don't know. His contract was up. They didn't renew it. He doesn't go to WCW. He just, he might go back to doing MMA a little bit, but he just kind of vanishes.
Huh.
He did recently go into the TNA Impact Hall of Fame. Do you know who inducted him?
Who?
The Rock.
In the TNA Impact Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I've actually showed you one of those matches of Ken Shamrock versus The Rock. He was at WrestleMania where Ken loses his mind and attacks all the refs.
Oh, yeah.
And Ken tweeted at him and was like, hey, can you send in a video just doing a little induction? Most fun I had in my career was wrestling. It was our feuds. So oh, okay. So TNA Impact, or whatever they're called now, because their fucking name changes every 3 weeks, got The Rock in 2019, 2020.
Really?
It was a pre-recorded thing, but they got him.
That's lovely. I like that.
We need to take a second and talk about how different the overall look to this show is.
Yeah, so we noticed that it was more grainy.
It's grittier. Almost.
Grittier, yeah.
I like the look better, but maybe it's because I'm partially used to it. But the camera quality isn't as good, but the camera work is better.
Definitely, yeah.
So
it also might be nostalgia for you too.
To a certain degree, but I don't know. It's just sometimes things look too clear. I also, funnily enough, when they went to HD, I'm like, this looks too clear. I don't like it.
You're just a boomer stuck in a millennial's body.
Well, sometimes you kind of don't want to see how crisp everything looks.
Oh, no, you're right.
Especially in wrestling.
You're right.
So we're not going to go blow by blow on most of these matches
No.
because we're not staying with these guys. I mean, the next time we'll see them will be in a couple months at WrestleMania. But
It'll mostly just be comparing product versus product.
yeah.
Like, these wrestlers are doing what versus what WCW wrestlers are doing.
Yeah, because early on we get Dan Severn coming out, or as Michael Cole calls him, Dan Severin, which is not his name.
No, Dan Severn. Like the river.
Yes, you had no idea who Dan Severn was.
Not a clue.
He is a former like UFC kind of guy, like very similar background to Ken Shamrock. He came in, I want to say in 98, and was like NWA champion and had like 3 or 4 belts with him, and they just didn't do much with him, so he never really became a big star in WWF. Sweetest guy in the world, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
But he comes out in a neck brace.
Oof.
Shamrock hits a belly to belly and then taunts Severn on the outside. Severn then gets on the apron, but Shamrock punches him off. When Severn gets back on the apron, the ref goes to try to get him down, and then Billy Gunn just like suddenly like slides into the ring, hits a famouser on
Yeah.
Shamrock, and then Blackman gets the pin.
Billy Gunn, what happened to you? You were so wonderful once.
We mentioned how we're watching, 2002 SmackDown. We just got to the wedding. The wedding of Billy and Chuck.
Spoilers.
No, we're never going to actually review that on this podcast.
Oh my god. Billy Gunn, you're about to be king of the ring, my guy.
Yeah, he's only a few months away.
Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, the match was mainly about the interference.
Yeah. But I have missed watching Blackman. I love Steve Blackman.
Yeah, he's still very nothing here, too.
Yeah, but he's still my boy. He's a lot of fun to watch later on, and it's nice to see somebody fun to
Like
watch.
Head Cheese era.
Even like right before Head Cheese, when he's like real nunchucky.
It's party time.
Yeah.
You want party time era, Steve
do.
Blackman.
I miss him.
So commentary then starts talking about Rock and Vince being on the cover of Southwest Airlines Spirit magazine. And they talk about this a couple times tonight.
Don't be confused. This is not a magazine you can go buy at a store. This is in the pocket of the chair in front of you if you fly on Southwest Airlines.
Okay, magazines aren't really a thing anymore. You telling me you don't think you could actually buy them anywhere?
Not the airline ones. I don't think so.
It wouldn't shock me.
Maybe you can like subscribe to them or something.
I don't know.
I never saw them anywhere other than in a plane.
I wasn't looking for them anywhere, though. This was 99. I wasn't really reading magazines.
Well, when I was a kid, my family flew a lot. So I spent a lot of time in airports, and like my dad would let us like go to the duty-free store and get like a book or something. And there were a lot of magazines there. So like I got that kind of experience to magazines.
Back from commercial, we get a WWF Rewind, which is just a recap of the previous match finish. Backstage, Shamrock and Billy Gunn are just brawling until referees separate them.
Which is refreshing. It's kind of nice that a referee actually has to come out and break them up instead of just like...
The entire world's security comes because...
They're looking at each
Oh,
other.
you looked at him. I saw you.
That was a threatening look.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that when this happens in WWF, it's referees and it's security for WCW.
True. Is security and referee just kind of like one and the same in WWF?
I'm guessing it's the fact that they're all contracted performers, so security should be there for, like, keeping the crowd and, production separate.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
You guys want to fight, that's your own business. Referees are, like, trying to look out for, like, the company.
Yeah.
Because they also, like, we're event staff, which I'm like, so that means you're, like, just here from the arena.
I mean, yeah. Like, everybody in the yellow shirts in the audience, those are probably event staff.
Yeah, but that's what they do in WCW.
True, you're right.
We get Mankind coming out next, and commentary's kind of puzzled by this, because he's not scheduled for anything.
And he doesn't have his music that we know.
No, it comes out to his old music.
It doesn't hit the same.
No. Mankind says that it's been a crazy couple of weeks. It's the first time he ever grabbed another man's testicles, and in a rugged, manly sort of way, he kind of enjoyed it. He also said it was the first time he said "suck it" without the word "please" in front of it, which the audience like popped big for.
What a guy. What a guy, Mick Foley. I love you so much.
He's the only one who got away with that.
Oh, God, yeah.
He also says that he has a new hobby. It's kicking the McMahon's family's asses.
That's a fun hobby. I approve of that hobby.
He wants a title shot at the Royal Rumble. He also acknowledges a couple of the Foley is God signs. He says he's not God, but he is pretty damn good. He then asks, can I say ass on television? Get your ass out here, dad. Which I feel the need to explain the dad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please, because I just thought it was like a fun little joke.
No, there is a partial reason for it. So, rewind to the pay-per-view or two before Survivor Series back in November. Mick had been part of the corporation for a while, and yeah, had a weird relationship with Vince, started like calling him dad, and Vince is like, you fell off the fucking Hell in a Cell, you're like killing yourself for us, here's the Hardcore Championship, which is how that debuts.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did not realize.
And so, yeah, just a weird relationship and just calling him dad. And then at Survivor Series, Austin gets out in the first round due to like some screwiness. And so it's down to The Rock and Mankind for the WWF Championship, like in the final. Neither of them had ever won it before. Rock gets Mankind in the sharpshooter, and Vince calls for the bell, a la the Montreal Screwjob. And that was kind of a double turn for Rock turning heel, Mankind turning face.
Okay.
And so the dad is just a holdover from that. I don't know how long that stays for,
Yeah,
but...
I don't know. Because, like, he wasn't saying dad when we started our watch.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I think when we started our watch, Vince McMahon was supposed to be gone forever, though.
You're right.
So Vince comes out and notes that the corporation is right behind him, so, you know, I'm not going to get, like, blindsided or anything.
Yeah, don't fuck with me.
He calls Mankind a monster and claims that he's had opportunities before, but he blew it. And he said he blew it because he listened to the fans and not to Vince. Which kind of ties into that Montreal Screwjob kind of thing.
But, like, that's kind of Mick Foley's whole shtick, like, doing stuff for the crowd.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
calls him pathetic for, like, doing it for the roar of the crowd.
How's it pathetic? Come on.
I think even Mick would be like, I probably did stuff like that a little too much.
He was a sucker for the pop. He would do anything to make the audience happy. God bless that man. If you have not read Have a Nice Day, you need to read Have a Nice Day. It'll make you cry. Mick Foley is a wonderful, wonderful man.
So Vince then says Mankind doesn't deserve to be number one contender because he hasn't paid his dues yet.
Yeah, what? Again, read Have a Nice Day. This man has paid his fucking dues.
Oh, God. I'm just thinking about all the fucking death matches he talks about in that book.
It's insane.
Yeah.
His time at New Japan is insane.
So Vince says he's not going to get a shot at the Rumble, nor is he ever. But he will give him a shot at entering the Royal Rumble. He books Triple H versus Mankind, and the winner is in the Rumble. And Shane McMahon, who Mankind recently put Miss Sacco on, is going to be the special ref.
Which just seems like a fucky... This is not going to be a good match. Like, it's just going to be a fucky match.
To close out the segment, one last thing. Have a nice day. It's like, oh my God, you fucking evil prick.
You're the monster, Vincent.
We go backstage, and Chyna and her friend are talking.
Her lady friend, quote unquote, lady woman.
You picked up on this quite quick.
It's the wig, dude. It's the wig. No female identifying person would wear a bad wig like that.
Well, they're probably talking about the next matchup, which is Sexual Chocolate, Mark Henry, versus...
That was terrible.
Which is Sexual Chocolate, Mark Henry, versus Goldust. You were upset about Goldust's entrance.
This was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in wrestling, and I've seen a lot of disgusting things. This man came out and licked the ring rope. Like, full on, full tongue, licked it. This man that's probably where COVID originated from, because ew.
So commentary notes that Mark Henry is apparently smitten with Chyna.
Ugh. I'm still thinking about the rope lick, I'm sorry.
Yeah. During Goldust's entrance, confetti falls, and I'm like, well, that's going to be there the rest of the fucking day.
Yep.
I should have checked the main event. I'm like, is anybody covered in confetti yet? So, as we mentioned, not going to call too many spots in these matches. But Mark Henry hits a leg drop and goes for the pin, but gets distracted by Chyna and her friend on the ramp.
Her friend.
Goldust then just hits Shattered Dreams, and there's no bell, but it's a DQ.
Shattered Dreams is rough.
Funnily enough, we had talked about Shattered Dreams at the Starrcade episode.
Yeah.
As mentioned before, it's either a pin or a DQ. This week it's a DQ.
It was a DQ, and they actually called it. They called Lobo a DQ here.
Yeah, they called it, but the bell didn't ring for whatever reason. Although I did laugh at he gets DQ'd, hit his music.
Yeah, that didn't make sense. I imagine that was just some PA hitting the wrong button.
So Chyna and her friend get in the ring, try to kiss his Mark on the cheek when helping him to his feet, and then confesses that the other night was incredible. And I'm like, you fucked?
Marcus.
She also says she's afraid she's not enough woman for him.
Ugh.
And then introduces Sammy. She offers up a threesome, and Mark Henry faints.
Which is just realistic.
It was some great physical comedy from Mark Henry. We don't get the payoff for it on this episode, but the payoff of that is Mark Henry getting a handful and going, sweet Jesus, that's a penis.
That's a penis.
That is the payoff to this.
I think we say, that's a penis around here a lot. I don't think I realized that's what it was from.
No, well, I think you're thinking of the How I Met Your Mother building one.
Oh, I am. That's a penis.
That is the quality writing we can look forward to once Vince Russo turns up. And
honestly, I'll take it.
I'm just saying, the words Viagra on a pole match don't mean anything to you right now, but they will.
No.
So speaking of things that don't get tied up on this episode, fucking somewhere, Dennis Knight is tied up in like a dungeon.
Yeah, what?
So this is like right when they come back from commercial. So like, which doesn't look like wrestling. So I imagine if you were watching at the time, just like it could commercial happening, and then you're like, what the fuck? Like what's on now?
What channel got changed?
What are they selling?
What are they selling?
And to add to the weirdness, I forget if it's right when they cut away or while it's still on screen. Godfather's theme, just the.
So in about a minute of network time, they go from Mark Henry being offered a threesome to Death Basement, Doomsday Basement, to the Hoe Train. Huh?
I wouldn't say it's a train here. That's
the idea, though. Like,
yeah, there's
Godfather and his hoes right
there are
after the
4
Death
women,
Basement.
and as we mentioned, we're at the wedding episode of Billy and Chuck, and he brings like the entire city with him.
Yeah, he's got like 20-some women with him. I'm like, man, this man got some street cred. Now he's got all the ladies.
Did you know he actually owns a strip club?
That does not surprise me.
And I don't know if he still is, but do you know who was like the head of security for his strip club?
Mark Henry?
D'Lo Brown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's at least what I've heard.
D-Lo.
So Godfather is out to face Test, who is like brand spanking new. Because they're still talking about him being a bodyguard for Motley Crue. Mm-hmm. And apparently Test is feuding with Val Venus. Godfather hits the Hoe Train, and then Val Venus appears on the ramp.
Looking down just very ominously.
Test and Godfather brawl on the outside, and the ref's just like, nope, fuck it, we're done here. And then Val swarms Test, and they brawl up the ramp until the referees separate them. Which is, I think, is basically what they were going for with Bam Bam Bigelow and Wrath.
Yeah,
And this managed to have just a
happen.
little more fire.
Yeah.
Like, Val Venus actually has, like, pretty good fire. He's had a couple of these, like, out of nowhere, like, you need to have, like, a blood feud. And it's like, okay.
Oh, you're right.
So, yeah, not a whole lot, although we did notice that there are a increasing number of non-finishes or
This is
interference.
Number 2 so far that has not had a finish.
And the one that did was a interference finish.
So there hasn't been a clean finish yet.
No.
Just keep it in mind.
Backstage, DX are just hanging out.
Just chilling.
Just dudes being bros.
Cool guys being dudes.
We get our Glover Slam of the Week, which is Mankind using Mr. Sacco on Shane 2 weeks ago. I don't know whether it was intentional or not that it was Glover and Mr. Sacco.
I don't know, actually, because like with the boot of the week, it was always like a kick.
No, it wasn't.
It was a kick most of the time.
I'd say 50% at best.
Really? Oh, I always remember it being a kick.
It was supposed to be. Half the time, it was like a choke slam.
Yeah,
Boot of the week.
Well.
Or like it was a promo segment, and that was your boot of the week. Like, I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me. But yeah, I did notice that the Glover person just looked like the hamburger helper hand.
You know, I never played Glover.
No. You have an N64?
Yeah.
Buy the game. Let's play it.
I don't know
Glover,
if people
sponsor
did
us.
play Glover. I think it was just like people were aware of Glover.
Yeah.
Our next match, which continues our questionable finishes, we get Triple H versus Mankind with a Rumble spot on the line. It's weird to see this in like a sudden match as opposed to like a pay-per-view main event or like...
Yeah.
Because like, just think about any like Triple H versus Cactus Jack match. Like, I even showed you the one from like the Raw and MSG where it's the debut of Cactus Jack, and around that there's like cage matches, and now it's just like, go off. I guess you guys have this match.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange that this is just like a middle of the card sort of match.
Yeah. Shane comes out to kind of strange music. It's not Here Comes the Money. He also does not do his dance when he comes out.
Ugh.
Which
Good.
you were happy about.
Thank God. I hate that dance. It's stupid.
We get the DX seizure entrance for Triple H. It was bad. If somehow you've avoided it your entire life. So it's an overlaying video on top of the entrance, which is like constantly cutting. And even when it's the actual entrance, over top of it is like a waveform kind of look.
Mm-hmm. It's just like intersplicing
It's
clips.
meant to look like a cool music video, and instead it just looks...
It hurts. It just intersplices clips of other DX matches.
I will note that it's slightly better here because there's not as much motion from Triple H. Like when X-Pac comes out and does it, and he's moving a bunch,
Oh
it's
my God,
just
that's
a
the
mess.
worst. When he's doing like the crotch X, it's the worst.
So Triple H is coming out in his long red tights.
Is that who Miss Elizabeth was referring to?
He has showed up at Nitro before on a tank. It was a Jeep, and they had a pipe sticking out of the back, so it was a tank.
Sure.
And they like maintained his day it was a tank. Like it was not a tank.
It was not a tank.
It wasn't a tank. Stop calling it a tank. So Shane goes over to commentary and is like, I'm gonna call this right down the middle. Good luck with that. This match is an odd face versus face dynamic in that there's something very real on the line. And it's like, oh, I want these guys to lose and not be in the Rumble.
Yeah, which is just frustrating because like I do want both these people in the Rumble. They would both be good to watch, but
It's pretty quick. Triple H ends up going for a sunset flip from the apron, but Mankind grabs the ropes to avoid an Aloha Mankind, but Shane kicks his arms off the ropes and then fast counts him.
yeah, it's like bam, bam, bam,
So
you're out.
Triple H is going to the Rumble.
Yeah,
Triple H grabs a mic and he's like, "Listen, I'm sorry, but like business is business, and I'll take the win. You know, I want to get the title."
any way I
And
can. Yeah,
Which the business is business line has me speculating about later, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
there. Yeah,
But keep that in mind. But he does feel bad, so he gives Mankind a little gift. He's like, Happy New Year. And then pedigree Shane. Mankind then grabs the mic and is like, I'm going to show you a move that like Coach something taught me at like high school. And he gets Shane in this like shoulder lock and is like, Shane, I'm going to break your fucking shoulder. I'm like, Mick
Mitchell.
Mick Foley. Mrs. Foley's baby boy kisses mother with that mouth.
Yeah, basically he's holding Shane hostage so that he can get his title shot.
Yeah, he wants it tonight now.
Yeah.
And Vince comes out and agrees. And then we get it's not good enough, Dad. He also wants it to be no DQ. Vince agrees to that as well. And he tells The Rock he'll see him later.
To which The Rock is like, the fuck?
Yeah, Mankind exits like through the crowd, and then Vince, Patterson, and Briscoe go to get Shane. Rock comes out and is like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, I'm not even dressed to wrestle." And Vince is like, "You're the champion. Fucking fight him, all right?"
Do it. Figure it out. I love the like not dressed to wrestle argument. Cause like doesn't Ric Flair wrestle in like dress slacks and nice shoes most of the time? Like not most of the time, but he does it a lot.
Yeah. Well, also it's funny because there's plenty of time in between now and the match, and The Rock stays in the attire he's in.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is ever confirmed or not, but it's widely believed that he had surgery on his pecs and it was still kind of healing, and so he didn't really want to be shirtless on TV.
That makes sense.
So that's the story with that, as potentially confirmed by John Cena in their feud in 2012. Next up, we have two of your boys, although one of them is now too good to be a boy.
He'll still be a boy in my heart.
We get Edge versus D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo with his bobbly head.
Yeah, that shaky head. That brought me back. I'm like, oh, I miss you, D'Lo.
Oh, I love the shaky head.
And Edge coming out through the crowd.
So cute. Such a handsome man, that Edge.
Apparently, D'Lo has been having issues with PMS.
Same.
The Pretty Mean Sisters, which at this point is just a group of Jacqueline and Terry Runnels.
Yeah, but you said there's like more than that.
Apparently,
right?
Ryan Shamrock, who is Ken Shamrock's kayfabe sister, shoot girlfriend.
Oh, shit.
And they eventually get Meat, who is the wrestler Sean Stasiak.
Yes, I know the name.
You probably know him from The Invasion. He's one of those guys. He's the guy who actually caused major changes to The Invasion because they were supposed to interfere at WrestleMania 17. And he did an interview saying as much.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, no, we're not changing plans.
Out.
Now you're going to be up in like a skybox.
I remember this, yeah.
And then he spent the entire invasion looking like an idiot. But he is the character Meat, which is... He's just there to be man meat for them to have sex with, as they police.
Okay, ladies, go off. Sure.
Yeah.
Men can have their women meat. Women can have theirs. Equality.
So again, that's PMS. Vince Russo writing at its greatest.
I'm so excited for this to come to WCW. Like, honestly, I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
So early on, Edge dives to the outside and... Dives, I feel like, is generous.
Oh, he, like, flies.
Yeah, because he goes over the top rope, but, like, it's like, like, he doesn't feel great about clearing it as he's doing it. He managed to clear it, but it looks real sloppy. And I'm like, I don't think you're going to keep doing that. One, because you didn't do it well. Two, because you're going to get a push, and you don't need to keep doing shit like that. It's like watching Randy Orton in 2002, and it's like, he's not doing a lot of this stuff anymore.
Oh, God, no.
Randy Orton
become so much better.
Randy Orton ain't doing no top rope crossbodies anymore.
Ooh.
But Edge also still has his screaming gimmick.
Which is just a very green thing, apparently. Like, new people have, like, the screaming gimmick, you said?
No, I wouldn't say that. This is just more for him. It's like, people are going to think you're so mysterious.
People are going to think he's gorgeous.
I think the only time the screaming gimmick has actually worked was Paige had that for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is Christian in the company yet? Yes,
because he is also part of the Brood. I don't know why the rest of the Brood isn't out with him tonight, but the Brood is Gangrel, Edge, and Christian right now. D'Lo hits a running powerbomb on Edge, but takes too long to get the pin, and Edge kicks out. Edge hits a top rope crossbody, and then PMS come down to the ring. And Cole notes that Terry is pregnant.
And you would know that because this tall, skinny woman is holding her stomach.
Excessively.
Any woman with like an ounce of fat on her stomach can just like hold her stomach in the right way, trick people into thinking that they're pregnant.
Just reminds me of a late season of Game of Thrones where Tyrion's talking to Cersei and she's like aggressively touching her belly.
Exactly.
Like, are you pregnant? It's like, how did you know that? It's like, well.
Exactly.
So Edge goes for another top rope crossbody, but D'Lo catches him midair with a spine buster, which was a nice spot, but is kind of overshadowed by the fact that Terry gets on the apron. D'Lo takes like 2 steps towards her, like just
doesn't touch her, doesn't go.
Just kind of like,
anything.
What are you doing here? And then she backs up and falls off the steps, and is like clutching her stomach, and is like, "Oh my god, my baby!" And it's like, Terry does good acting here because I'm thoroughly uncomfortable from this.
Good. I mean, yeah, it's one of those spots that you're supposed to be uncomfortable, but
yeah, but I don't need this in my wrestling show.
You're right. You're absolutely right. This needs to be in like Grey's Anatomy. This kind of acting.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my god, she's several months pregnant." I'm like,
"Are you sure?
You sure about that?" They stretcher Terry off and then go to commercial. When we come back, there's a doctor looking over Terry, and he's just not a good actor and doesn't enunciate. 'Cause I think he's saying that he like can't hear anything in terms of a heartbeat, but he just kind of mumbles his lines. I don't know what he was trying to get across.
Something along those lines, yeah.
They also talk about how they don't know who the father is / was because this is the end of the pregnancy portion of this angle. They are now basically going to guilt D'Lo into doing their bidding.
I thought D'Lo was the father. I thought that was the whole reason for this interference.
Yeah, it's kind of a messy story of Terry Runnels was with Goldust in kayfabe and in real life. I don't know when they divorced in real life, but then there was a whole story with her sleeping with Val Venus, and Val and Goldust feuded. Actually, it might have even been Dustin Runnels at that point. because I think that feud results in him becoming Goldust again. And then Terry gets pregnant. And it's like, we're pregnant. Val's like, no, we're not anything. The big Valboski got a vasectomy.
Good. Like, that's responsible.
Yeah, especially for the porn industry. Like, yeah, just be safe.
Oh yeah, just don't even like tempt fate like that.
You know, I just realized we didn't get a Val Venus sexy promo.
Oh, that's a shame. Hello, ladies.
So yeah, somehow D'Lo and Mark Henry get involved in this, and I don't even know if they had a plan for who the father was going to be, because they're like, oh, the baby's not going to happen, so we don't have to worry about this.
They probably haven't. They probably didn't give it that much thought.
I think we need a palate cleanser after that.
Yeah.
Which we get because Kane comes out with the Stooges and Shane.
Oh, Kane.
Commentary is unsure why the hell they're out here. Shane announces there's going to be a handicap match. It's going to be Kane versus Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. And they're like, what the fuck? No!
The turn of the century.
Vince then comes out and is like, I did say anybody involved in traumatizing Shane. And I guess they didn't fight off Mick well enough, so
Yes, yeah.
they are now partially responsible.
Ugh.
So Kane's going to kill them, basically.
Yeah.
Briscoe offers Kane money. He turns that down. Patterson offers him cigarettes. He turns that down. So Patterson offers him a condom.
Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know what the...
What was the thought process?
Kane chokeslams Briscoe. Then Patterson brings in a chair, and it looks like he's going to hit Kane with it, but then he's like, oh shit. So he sets it up. Kane then punts this thing out of existence.
This chair...
It goes out of camera. It doesn't make any noise either. It just...
gone.
Yeah.
This chair does not exist on this earth anymore. It is gone.
He then chokeslams Patterson, and then like low blows both for good measure while they're on the ground. He then goes to chokeslam Shane, but Vince is still on the ramp, and he's like, hey, listen, if you chokeslam Shane, I'm sending you back to the insane asylum.
That's where it got me.
Yeah.
Because the insane asylum? Pardon? That's not in the lore. That's not in the good
lore?
book. The lore.
What is the lore, Emily?
Oh, I'll tell you about the lore. About a year ago, Nick bought me this book. It's a book called Journey into Darkness, and had me read it. This book is all about Kane.
Is the WWE authorized history of Kane.
It's from his youth to where he started wrestling, where he got into WWF. It's the whole story. And nowhere in that story is there an insane asylum. I read this whole book cover to cover. There is no insane asylum in this book.
I think this is meant to be more recently, because that book basically ends at WrestleMania 14, and I think this is a more recent development.
I hope so, because I did not read that whole book for the lore to not be followed. Anytime that it is not followed, like, Kane is not supposed to feel pain. So anytime he takes a bump and sells, I'm like, no, you're not supposed to have felt that. Anytime he's, like, threatened to be caught on fire, I'm like, bud, you can't feel the fire. You're fine.
I'm going to send you back to the insane asylum just reminds me of one of the funniest lines I've ever heard in wrestling that I don't think was supposed to be funny. It's from TNA. It's basically a discount War Games match. And AJ Styles and a character called Abyss are on a team. Abyss is basically knockoff Kane.
Okay.
It's just in a simplified form. And he has like I'd say a pallbearer type character with him. The guy's a little more devil-like. And I don't know the context of this, which I think makes it funnier. The line is basically, and AJ, if you get the title shot, then Abyss's mother goes to prison.
What?
It's like, wait, what?
Pardon?
I don't know.
I need the context. But, like, also, Kane is never shown as insane. He's never shown as mentally unstable in the book. He's not insane.
He actually eliminates himself from the upcoming Royal Rumble because the white coats chase after him.
He's not insane.
There's definitely some issues going on there.
Sure, there are some issues, but it's not insanity. He is stable mentally. Maybe be very depressed and have some PTSD, but he's not insane.
So, Vince declares Kane the winner without him pinning or doing anything.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, although then again, is this a non-finish? Maybe, but Kane won. You know what I mean? It's like him pinning them would have been academic.
Yeah, but I feel like we are at one pin this whole match or this whole show. One clean pin.
No, none, because
So we're still at none.
yeah. So we are. I don't even know how many matches in, but we've had no fully clean finishes. This is maybe the closest as we've gotten, but I mean, again, he doesn't pin anybody.
No. If there was a bell ring, if there was a ref, then yeah, that would be it. But no.
After Kane's declared the winner, him and Shane walk up the ramp, and Shane's like, "You don't do that to me. Come on." And then Shane and Vince hug to end the segment.
Oh, it's a wholesome father-son moment.
So back from commercial, we go back to Dennis Knight, still dying somewhere. But then two mysterious figures come get him. You see who it was?
No, I didn't see.
Oh, it's the Acolytes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can tell from Ron Simmons' voice. That voice is so very clearly him.
It is.
We then are supposed to just casually transition to Al Snow versus Road Dogg in a hardcore title match.
My boy Al Snow. We haven't seen Al Snow in so long. He's been doing Tough Enough. We haven't seen Al Snow in so long.
Yeah, this Al is a little different than we remember, though.
I like this Al. He's psychotic.
Oh my god. Apparently Al is still covered in blood from 2 weeks ago.
The man does not bathe.
Yeah, they're saying he hasn't bathed. He then lays out Head as like a trap on the stage and like backs up like through like a curtain kind of underneath the Titantron.
He like crawls.
It works. That's
It's
the saddest
great.
thing.
But I'd like to point out how you can prove that this is not real blood on his shirt. Real blood turns brown after time on clothing.
Okay, fair.
That was still stark red. It was fake.
No. So he's covered in blood from... Actually, the more I'm thinking about this, that may actually be the same shirt.
Ew.
Because it wasn't blood. It was the red viscous liquid that drops from the
Oh!
ceiling. Because he got hit by a bloodbath from the brood.
viscous liquid. Oh, then of course it can be red.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, I'm like, ooh, is that actually the same shirt? Yeah, Road Dogg comes out and then Al blindsides him. Actually, I have a couple spots from this we're going to talk about. So
We don't get the Road Dogg self-intro, though.
no, we do get Road Dogg just chucking a chair into Al Snow's face.
Yeah.
When Al Snow's jumping off the apron. Al hits a jumping leg lariat off the chair. He then sets up a table and lays Road Dogg across. He tries for a moonsault off the barricade, but Road Dogg moves and Al just crashes right through. We get 3 cookie sheet shots from Road Dogg and bending it back in between the shots.
So he'll hit Al Snow with the cookie sheet, bend it back into place, hit him with it again, bend it back into place. It was great.
They then brawl up the aisle and try to head towards backstage, but stop in a slight production area.
Yes. Just like around all these like camera cases and light cases.
There's somebody with a sounder lighting board kind of in that area doing something. And it feels like he's actually doing it because he does not. He's like, I gotta stay in this
Doesn't pay
spot.
them any attention.
Road Dogg hip tosses Al through a table and then hits a diving axe handle off like the 3rd step of this little set of stairs that goes up onto the stage. Like, it wasn't that high. It wasn't impressive.
No.
They then brawl further into the actual backstage area. A cop moves so Al can choke Road Dogg with a hose. And I'm like, buddy.
I'm just gonna let it happen.
He then smashed him with a box of toilet paper, which explodes everywhere.
Which again, in 2020, that is worth so much money. That is currency.
Al then breaks a broom over Road Dogg's back, followed up by smashing like planters over Road Dogg's head. Jesus. Road Dogg Irish whips Al into some kegs, and then Irish whips him into some road cases. I think Cole calls them like that heavy steel case.
They're plastic.
They're like wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not. There is like some like metal structure to it, but like
But it's not a metal case.
no. I work with those cases. Those cases will probably fucking move a bunch if they're empty and get tossed in.
Oh, yeah.
Road Dogg then goes to spray Al with a fire extinguisher, but it doesn't go off.
Yeah, it's like faulty.
But Road Dogg like hits him with it like real quickly. Like that spot doesn't linger, and I'm like,
So,
good on you.
You know what they were trying to do with Chavo when he botched and he just could not get back?
Yeah.
Road Dogg did that. Road Dogg had a botch, fixed it immediately.
I also think back to the Hogan Warrior fire
Oh my
spot. Though that was the finish, though.
That was sad.
Outside in the snow, Road Dogg hits Al with a snow shovel
Just appropriate.
into a like garbage wheelbarrow kind of thing.
Yeah. I seen that. That's like the only way to describe them.
Yeah.
It's like a dumpster wheelbarrow.
He then runs that into a garage door. Follows up with a pile driver through some pallets to get the win.
The best part about that pin, though, was while they were like brawling and trying to like when he was trying to get him into like the position for the pin, a guy like in the background walks out of a door and just like puts his head down and immediately walks the other way. It's like, I'm just trying to go home, man. I'm like, you're not gonna pay any attention to what's going on in front of you.
Yeah, I wonder if he's off to that weird dungeon. 'Cause that's where we go to next.
Again.
I think the Acolyte's a little more visible here, but they just like take Dennis Knight, like, all right, like they're ready to see you. Obviously, the payoff doesn't happen here. This is building to like the Ministry of Darkness.
Gotcha.
So he becomes Midian and then joins. I think the next person who joins after that is Viscera. Ugh. And I forget which one of them. They do a whole segment which gets chopped up on the network because it actually showed up for like their Halloween clips of Undertaker slitting his wrists.
Oh, what?
And then like drinking the blood. Remember when we watched this? Like, wait a minute, they cut out the slitting the wrist thing.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, I do remember this now.
They cut that out in this special, like, ooh, spooky clips. I wonder if that is actually cut out on the episode.
Spooky.
But yeah, we do not see Undertaker at all tonight.
Which is kind of unfortunate, but a lot was going on in this episode.
You know, he's kind of not fully on TV because he got buried alive at the last pay-per-view.
Oh, did he?
We then go back to backstage where Shawn Michaels is saying, oh, I'm going to get the surprise. And Triple H gives them the keys and then like gives him a hug. And Shawn's like, I'll be right back. He's like, see you later. And when he leaves, Triple H is like, maybe not. I think it's X-Pac says, oh, it goes around, comes around. So then Shawn's outside and the keys don't work. And then you hear like Boss Man go like, hey, Shawn. And it cuts.
And then when we come back
to commercial, a murder has happened.
Yeah, Shawn's completely covered in blood. His head had gone through the windshield of this car.
It's gruesome.
It's horrifying.
Well, it's gone. His head has gone through the windshield. That's like the cleanest windshield break I've ever seen. And what they did, like a square is cut out, and it's like, oh, right there. So going back, it definitely seems like DX fucking knows that he's about to get murdered.
Yeah, probably.
Triple H talking about like, oh, business is business. Was that the agreement? Did Triple H set up Shawn Michaels to get a spot in the Rumble?
So are you saying that you think that Triple H went to Shane and was like, look, if you win me this, I will make Shawn go away?
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really get followed up on too much. So.
No, maybe.
But
it's not out of
it's meant to be kind of vague. And I'm like, did you just sell out your like old best friend for a spot at the Rumble?
Maybe.
Because they definitely know like what's about to happen. So, I mean, maybe they don't know the severity of it, but yeah, Shawn gets put into an ambulance and he's gone now.
Yeah, he's not going to be interfering anymore at this point.
It's now time for our second main event of the podcast. Mankind versus The Rock for the WWF title.
And it is a no DQ match.
Yes.
So during this match is when commentary starts kind of throwing jabs at WCW, which is fun. But they start saying things like, oh, don't worry, there will be a finish, unlike the matches at our competition, or something like that. I'm like, this is where I'm like, hold on, I had to go back through. I'm like, there has been no clean matches.
You know what they called it? That other league.
That other league?
Yeah, it was the most... I wrote down the verbiage because it was so bizarre.
That is strange. But this is where they start saying that. This is where I started thinking, like, was there a clean finish to any match?
Hardcore title.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's the only one that has a pin with no outside interference.
And like, this is a weird flex to make when you cannot live up to it. But WCW also did that of like, oh, that'll put butts in the seats when we just had a shitty first hour.
Yeah,
like,
funny enough, I think most of the matches actually had finishes in.
Yeah, they did.
But they were also thoroughly less interesting.
Fair.
So say what you will at a certain point. But Mankind comes out for his match with DX as backup. The Rock comes out with the Corporation.
Mm-hmm. So the Corporation and DX are all ringside.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a lumberjack
It
match.
does.
Rock kicks Mankind to the outside pretty early on, and like Shamrock kicks him, and Rock's like, no. I'm gonna do this. Rock suplexes Mankind on the outside and then hops on commentary. Then Mankind attacks him and hops on commentary on his own, which leads to The Rock just clattering Mankind with a bell shot.
Oh my god, yeah.
Apparently, I don't know if this is one of those instances. Sometimes when it's pre-taped like this, they'll actually add a little ding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if they did that here or not. I mean, I heard a ding. I don't know whether it was genuine or added. Rock then rock bottoms Mankind through the table.
Oh my god, it was just a dirty slam.
Yeah, because like it doesn't break flat.
No.
It breaks like on Mankind's side only, so it breaks like tilted.
Yeah, it just looked like it hurt.
In addition to the shade earlier, King then notes that this isn't a title match that'll start 2 minutes before we go off the air.
I wonder what they're referring to. This is the WWF, baby.
Rock hits a scoop slam in the ring and then hits the corporate elbow.
Which just makes me laugh because it's the people's elbow.
But Mankind kicks out. He then hits a swinging neck breaker, and someone tosses the title belt in the ring. I didn't see who it was.
I didn't either.
And Rock hits Mankind with it, but Mankind kicks out of the belt shot. Mankind then hits a double arm DDT onto the belt. It was supposed to be the belt.
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
It was supposed to be, but Mick's leg kind of kicked the belt out when doing the move, so
Yeah.
it didn't really land. It's like, oh. But The Rock kicks out of that. Mankind puts on Mr. Sacco and locks in the mandible claw. Ken Shamrock then comes back in and hits Mankind with a chair.
And then
Billy Gunn just
spears
gets
him
in.
out
It's
of the
like,
ring.
yeah, it's like, get the fuck
no.
out of here. DX and the Corporation brawl on the outside. Rock and Mankind are down. What's going to happen next?
How you end a show.
Yes. First off, the pop.
The pop was insane.
Second of all, yeah.
That's how you end a fucking show when you're trying to win a ratings war.
Yeah. Second of all, Mankind winning the title.
Yeah. It's lovely. It's a beautiful moment.
You didn't seem bothered by Stone Cold pulling Mick on top of him.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I
can see why it would be bothersome, but it didn't bother me.
The slightly annoying thing about that is people talk about that, and it's not necessary. You can actually see Mick crawling towards Rock as it's happening, and I'm like, damn it! You could have just don't do it and have him do it himself, and
yeah,
then it's all fine.
But the pop,
the crowd is absolutely losing their minds for
my God,
all of
yeah.
this, and Cole has like 12. The boyhood dream has come true kind of lines. Like the first one I think works the best. And it's like, from being called Moby Mick, from hiking out, from doing this. I'm like,
he
Cole,
tried them all.
yeah.
One of them had to stick.
It just keeps going. And he actually gets cut off on one of them. And so he goes back to it.
Oh my God.
And Road Dogg does the announcement of the new WWE champion, Mankind.
Beautiful.
Mick grabs the mic, tells Vince that this feels pretty damn good.
Oh.
He then dedicates the match to his two kids, even though it doesn't sound too cool. Big Daddy-O did it. Very sweet moment at the end. You right?
Yeah, I just love Mick. He's just a good guy.
We opted to not do MVP and best bit for Raw because it's Mick. It's
the main event. Yeah, there's no question.
So yeah, quite a contrast between the two shows.
Oh my God, yeah.
People point to this as the turning point. And I don't know how accurate that is.
No.
It is true that from this point, WCW never wins the ratings war on any night where they're actually head-to-head. Sometimes Raw will get preempted for the Westminster Dog Show or something like that. But when they go head-to-head, WWE never beat them again. But also, that streak already started a couple weeks before this. So this isn't the catalyst of that.
Okay. This is just like for sure solidifying.
In a way, you can make the case for that. But also, the WCW ratings don't take a massive dip for another couple weeks. Like, they had a 5.0 on this show. They get another 5.0 in like a couple weeks. And then something happens, I don't know what, and they don't even hit 4. Oof. Like, they sort of hit 4 at that point. And it's pretty consistent 3s and 2s, and it just kind of keeps going down. So, but that doesn't start next week, so it's kind of a...
Yeah.
I think it's more that WCW exhausted all the goodwill they had left. Yeah. So if this wasn't the final straw, it's...
one of them.
It's literally like, you're on thin ice. One more shitty thing and I'm done.
This would have been it for me.
Oh yeah, I very understandably. But it's now one NWO.
Which, like, makes sense. Like, there shouldn't be 2 NWOs.
Except for the fact that there's the NWO and the B team, but they're associated, so it's basically one group.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because it is NWO Elite.
Ugh. If Sold Out is still an NWO thing, it's going to be a nightmare.
It's also... I was thinking about this when we started. It's like, oh, it's the first one of the Ric Flair era. Man, Rick, it's starting off pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, I also wanted to ask this. Mm-hmm. The fact that Hogan walks out champion here, does it make Starrcade worse? Does it make Goldberg losing the streak just to have Nash hand it off?
I didn't even think about that. But yes, why didn't they just have Goldberg go against Hogan?
That was apparently an original plan at one point.
Why wouldn't they just do that?
Backstage politics.
Fuck off.
People don't like Hogan backstage, so that's a...
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, that's one of the... There's a lot of rumors and stories, and it's one of those where if Hogan beats Goldberg, there'll be like a revolt backstage. Nash is somewhat well-liked, so if he does it, then they can kind of do a transfer there, and they're building up up Hogan to be the big bad again that Goldberg has to slay.
This was just such a horrible way to do that, though. This seems even more insulting to Goldberg.
Yeah.
It's insulting to the fans. It's insulting to Goldberg, the wrestlers, like anybody who gave a shit about the streak or even Nash winning or like anything like that. Too fucking bad.
You know, I almost said there's the issue of like, oh, who's the next kind of baby faces you have up? But the WCW roster is so deep that it's like you have plenty. He's not back yet, but like Randy Savage, DDP.
Oh, yeah.
Still Goldberg, Ric Flair, Booker's on his way up. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of talent there. It's just a matter of
using them properly.
Yeah, the rest of the horsemen. So we'll feel like we did Raw second, not end in a down note. Now we're landing on a down note.
I know. No, watching Raw second just like reminded me of there could be good wrestling TV back then. Like, it was a thing. It did happen. Nitro did not have to happen like that.
And I think it also speaks to how much you can save a show with the main event. End of the day, the previous Nitro probably wasn't fantastic, but it had a happy ending and like something satisfying and not a huge middle finger to the fans.
Absolutely. And
this has a great ending. And it's like the rest of the Raw, it's not great, but like there's a good through line.
Comparatively, I loved the Raw.
well, there's the Mankind through line throughout, and it's satisfying conclusion.
It's just better storytelling on Raw.
Yeah.
There is a through line, like you said, with one story. Everything is explained. Everything has a backstory. Everything's paid off. It makes sense. Even if you are a very casual viewer, you get it. You can't say the same for WCW. If a casual viewer just hopped into WCW, they'd be so fucking confused.
True. I guess we have a little... I mean, I guess I have more context than you do for where we were in Raw, but you picked up on it pretty quick.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's understandable. It's good storytelling. It's giving a backstory to a match before the match happens so you understand who to root for. It's explaining the rules of the match before the match happens. It's giving you someone to root for from the beginning of the show to the end. It's simple. And Nitro just can't do it. I don't understand why.
Well, we'll get to experience the fallout of this, and we're actually going to have to take a little peek at Thunder, because that's where a little bit of the fallout happens as well. Next time on the Butts in the Seats podcast, I guess that's the January 11th, 1999 Nitro. We have no Raws scheduled in the future.
We may.
We're not going to do Rumble 99. We have recently watched the I Quit match there, and it's just upsetting, and I don't really want to relive it.
No, we watched it
and
too
the
recently.
Rumble isn't all that good either. So, no reason to do that. We will be returning to WWF for WrestleMania 15 just to see how the other half lives.
But, yeah.
So we have that Nitro, and then the week after that, we have Sold Out.
Which I'm less and less excited for.
What's going to be on the card?
I don't know, and I'm just nervous, because it's going to be garbage.
Do you think there'll even be a title defense?
Probably not. I'm going to say no.
Alright, I'm guessing probably Kevin Nash and Goldberg. Get Goldberg his win back. We got the tag team match. Norman Smiley and Chavo Guerrero.
Probably.
And
There's got to be something with Eddie. Eddie's going to do something.
Eddie, and then there's... I don't know if you're going to like it or not, but there's a lot of clearing house of the NWO. Like, alright, we need to fucking sort out who's in, who's out. So, it should
I
make
like
things
that,
more
honestly.
clear, but that also means it's going to be a lot of NWO action. We also may or may not be saying farewell to the Giant next episode.
Yeah! That may or might not be his last episode.
I mean, he debuts at the pay-per-view after Royal Rumble, and I'm pretty sure next week is his last appearance, but we'll have to see. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at ButtsInThePod, and follow us on Spotify. I got it right that time. Until next time, you listen to the Butts in the Seats podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Emily.
Thank you for listening.